is on CSS, your source for sports in the Southeast.
Before 10,111, the Alabama Crimson Tide behind Taylor Tankersley jump into the winner's bracket against the University of Florida. Scott McClanahan had a big 3-run homer to lead an 18-hit attack for the Tide, who racked up Mississippi State. Ben Harrison's 3-run homer was a big blow for the University of Florida as Pat McMahon's team moves into a winner's bracket game. Georgia mistakes and the great pitching of Jim Ranshaw, the difference in that one. Now Alabama and Florida look to advance on CSS. Southeastern Conference Baseball Tournament Day 2, and our first winner's bracket game of the afternoon as Alabama takes on the Florida Gators. Hi again, everyone. I'm Chuck Husson along with Rusty Enzer from Hoover Metropolitan Stadium, and this is a big game. Alabama and Florida playing for the right to take tomorrow off.
The winner gets to rest tomorrow, and it vaults them into the winner's bracket finals.
Alabama got a big win over Mississippi State yesterday. The Crimson Tide, a good sign for them. Brent Boyd, their first baseman, broke out of a long slump.
He was 0 for 16 coming into the SEC tournament, went 3 for 5 yesterday. He is a key figure in the middle of this Alabama lineup.
Florida is led by shortstop Mark Kiger. He comes in with a .414 batting average. That's tops in the SEC. And he can get it done in many ways for the Gators.
He's also the team leader in runs scored, base hits. He's walked 56 times. He went 0 for 5 yesterday. The key for Florida tonight, get Kiger on base.
We have a great pitching matchup for you as well. A battle of right-handers as Lance Cormier will go for Alabama. He's 9-3 on the year, and he's the all-time winningest pitcher for the Tide.
He's also making his 41st career start. He's also the career leader in strikeouts for Alabama. A second-team All-SEC selection. Good pitcher tonight for the Crimson Tide.
Now for the Florida Gators, it will be Alex Hart, who's a senior, the winningest pitcher in the SEC coming in.
He had Tommy John surgery 2 years ago, struggled last year in his comeback, won 13 games this year, tops in the SEC. He's the pitcher of the year in the conference, and he's also a candidate for National Player of the Year.
Bama and Florida, we're back with the first pitch after this on CSS.
Is one too many.
Welcome back to Hoover Metropolitan Stadium as we get set for our first winner's bracket game of the day. The batting order for the Alabama Crimson Tide, 45-12. Under Coach Jim Wells leading off and playing right field will be Travis Garner. Hitting second will be second baseman Peter Stonert. He's over 400 for the year. Hitting third, catcher Jeremy Brown. The cleanup man will be Scott McClanahan, the center fielder. Brent Boyd will hit fifth, the first baseman. Chad White will bat sixth. He's the left fielder. The designated hitter, Bo Herod, will bat seventh. Hitting eighth, Adam Pavkovich. He's the shortstop and batting ninth. For the Crimson Tide, Alan Rice, the freshman third baseman. Defensively, Florida lines up like this from left to right. Aaron Soberai, Jake Reardon, and Matt Goss. From third to first, it's Pat Osborne, Mark Kiger, Aaron Davidson, and Ryan Shealy. Behind the plate, it's Brian Rosen. On the hill, right-hander Alex Hart, 6'5", 217 pounds, a junior from Marion, Pennsylvania. And he's 13-1 on the year with a 3.14 earned run average. You can see a lot of innings pitched, 100 in the third, 67 hits, 35 earned runs. He struck out 74 and walked 47.
We talked about in the open how he had kind of a rough recovery from his Tommy John surgery last year. Let me show you the difference between last year and this year with Alex Hart. He lowered his ERA from almost 7 to 3.14. His walks per 9 innings were almost 8.5. Now they're down to just a little over 4 walks per 9 innings. And in hits per 9 innings, he went from 9 to just about 6. That's why you have 13 wins and only 1 loss.
The umpire alignment for tonight's game, Paul Gilly behind the plate calling the balls and strikes. At first base, it's Tony Walsh. Scott Irby is at second base. And the third base umpire is David Savage. Weather absolutely perfect tonight. Temperature right around 70 degrees, no humidity, winds are calm, and crystal blue skies above Hoover, Alabama. So the leadoff man, Travis Garner, set to stand in. Garner, a junior from Sturgis, Mississippi, transferred from Meridian Community College, and he takes a ball from Alex Hart. Hart's only loss of the year coming to Alabama back on April the 5th. Bounces that one up there. And the count goes to 2 balls and no strikes. Alex Hart is second-round draft choice by the Baltimore Orioles, coming out of Chambersburg High School back in 1998. Hart ready to go again. Sends this one high and away, and the count 3 balls, no strikes to Travis Garner. Alabama had big fireworks in the first inning yesterday. They got 3 on Mississippi State to take a 3-2 lead after 1. And they ended up winning at 12-2 in a game that was called after 8 innings. Mississippi State advancing. They stayed alive today, beating the University of Georgia. This one back to the box. Hart will throw out Garner. And also Arkansas defeated Auburn University 8-5 in the game prior to this one. So the Tigers of Auburn go home.
Good veteran move there by Hart. Falls behind 3-0 on the first batter. Garner battles back and gets him to bounce out to just a little comebacker right there. That's why you got 13 wins.
So the batter now will be Peter Stonard, coming in with a .410 average. And he has had an excellent year. The second baseman from Clayton, Missouri.
Second in the SEC in hitting, has 30 multi-hit games, which obviously leads the club this year. 1
ball, 1 strike. Jeremy Brown waits on deck. And then the cleanup man for Bama, Scott McClanahan. If these guys can get on. There's Jeremy Brown, the catcher. He has had an excellent year for Jim Wells.
We'll talk about this as the game goes on, Chuck, but 2 excellent backstops tonight, both offensively and defensively especially. They know how to handle each of their pitching staffs.
Brian Rose behind the plate for the University of Florida. The ground ball to Mark Kiger, and he throws out Stonard. Score that one 6-3. There's 2 gone very quickly, and the batter now will be Jeremy Brown. There's Pat McMahon, first-year head coach of the Florida Gators. He moved over from Mississippi State. Actually a Florida native, went to Stetson University where he graduated in 1976, and then has his hometown Jacksonville, Florida. 394 career wins at Old Dominion, Mississippi State, and now the University of Florida. The batter Jeremy Brown takes one inside, ball 1. You see the numbers on Brown this season. What's he drawn? Something like 57 walks.
He's drawn 195 walks for his career, which is just unbelievable.
This is a swing and a miss, and count even up now. 1 ball and 1 strike on Brown, a senior from Hueytown, Alabama. Pitch is high and tight. A lot of famous NASCAR drivers come from Hueytown, Alabama.
I'll leave that up to you right there, Chuck.
The Allison brothers. 2-1 pitch popped up toward right field. Matt Goss waiting for it to come down, puts a squeeze on it for out number 3. So Bama goes in order in the top of the first. We played 1/2 inning. Alabama nothing. Florida coming to bat on CSS.
CSS brings you the best racing action from around the Southeast every Saturday night. The green flag falls at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central each week. Give in to your racing addiction. Watch CSS. It's your source for sports in the Southeast.
Hoover Metropolitan Stadium as Florida Gators get set to come to the plate here against Alabama. Mark Kiger leads it off. He's the shortstop, followed by Aaron Davidson, the second baseman. Hitting third, All-SEC member Pat Osborne, the third baseman. Cleanup man is a big banger, Ryan Sheely, first baseman out of Fort Lauderdale Cardinal Gibbons High School. Ben Harrison, the DH, bats fifth. He had a big home run yesterday. Right fielder Matt Goss will hit sixth. Aaron Soberai will bat seventh, the left fielder. Brian Rose, the catcher, hits eighth, and Jake Reardon, the center fielder, will bat ninth. Defensively for Alabama, Chad White is a left fielder. Scott McClanahan in center, and he is a dandy. Travis Garner will play in right field. Third to first, it's Alan Rice, Adam Papkovich, Peter Stonard, and Brent Boyd. Behind the plate, Jeremy Brown. We talked about him earlier. And on the hill, Lance Cormier, the right-hander, 6'1", 195, a senior from Lafayette, Louisiana. 9-3 on the year, 3.14 his earned run average. Holds career records at Alabama for innings pitched, wins, strikeouts, and appearances. He beat Florida 4-1 back on April 5th to become the all-time winningest pitcher in Bama baseball history. Lance Cormier. He was a freshman All-America coming out of the bullpen.
I tell you, so far, Chuck, we have seen some outstanding pitching in this tournament. You know, there's a lot of talk about how guys hit in this league and things like that, but hats off to the pitchers so far in this league.
Cormier set to face Mark Kiger. 10 home runs, 57 RBI, and a .414 batting average coming in. Fastball ripped toward right. It's going to get down for a base hit. Travis Garner over to cut it off. He'll hold Kiger to a single. Kiger had a 16-game hitting streak, ended yesterday against the University of Florida, but Georgia, but he's begun a new one here tonight.
Well, we talked about that in the open as well. 0 for 5 yesterday, and he doesn't take the caller often, but it's important for Kiger to get on base. He's got some good speed. He makes things happen and sets the table for the big guys coming up behind him, Osborne and Shealy.
Batter now will be Aaron Davidson, second baseman. He's a senior from Atascadero, California. And there's a passed ball, I believe. The ball bounces out of the mitt of Jeremy Brown. They're going to call that a wild pitch as it hit the dirt coming up there from Cormier. And so Florida has a runner in scoring position at second base in Mark Kiger. Aaron Davidson, good number 2 hitter. Can spray the ball to all fields. Will take a lot of pitches, go deep in the count.
And he needs to concentrate on spraying it to the right side. Make sure you get Kiger over to third and get him in scoring position at third base with only one out, where you can score ground ball, pass ball, sacrifice fly.
Lance Cormier misses on that when the count goes to 2-0 on Davidson. That's the 11th wild pitch of the season for Lance Cormier, and he leads Alabama in that category. Got to look at Jim Wells in his 8th year now. Hot shot down to first base. Brent Boyd will finally corral it and put the tag on Davidson. And we talked about it, Rusty Enzer moving the runner over, and Aaron Davidson did that.
Well, Florida's the leading hitting team in the league, but they also do the little things that help them win ball games. That's why they've won over 40 games this year. And those are the things that don't show up in the stat book, but nice job by Davidson giving himself up right there. Now you've got the big guns coming up, Osborne and Shealy.
Here's the all-SEC third baseman, Pat Osborne, a junior from Bakersfield, California. Osborne has registered at least one hit in 23 of his last 24 games, so he's been hot down the stretch. Curveball is in for a strike. We'd like to welcome everyone watching this game on Comcast Sports Southeast Channel 6 in Augusta, Georgia. I'd like to welcome everyone watching Comcast Sports Southeast Channel 27 in Nashville, Tennessee, and Charter Sports Southeast Channel 65 in Montgomery, Alabama. That pitch low and away.
Osborne second on the team in RBIs and home runs. He trails the man that's standing on deck, which is Ryan Shealy.
The 1-1 coming up from Cormier is high and tight. So Osborne in the driver's seat here. 2 balls, 1 strike. 1 on, 1 out. That's Ryan Shealy.
There's the big bopper. That guy can pound it.
He can.
Made a couple of nice defensive plays yesterday too at first base.
Kiger leads away at third base. Fastball chopped down the line. This is going to score a run. And to grab it is Rice. Throws it on. Not in time to get Pat Osborne, who gets down the line in good shape. He's got an RBI, and Florida has an early 1-0 lead over Alabama.
Credit Aaron Davidson for that run right there, for getting Tiger over to third base. And Osborne with almost like a swinging bunt right here. Rice does a nice job charging the ball. He's got a great arm at third base, but Osborne with good speed just beats it out.
57th RBI of the season for Pat Osborne. So the runner at first base, and Ryan Sheely will stand in there. He has 21 home runs on the year, which tied for the SEC home run crown with Yaron Peters of South Carolina. 70 RBI, a 365 batting average, and takes a cut at the pitch, doesn't get it, strike one.
He was obviously guessing on that first pitch.
Runner at first base, Pat Osborne. Cormier to the stretch, fastball just off the outside corner. And the count even up now. 1 ball and 1 strike. Get some grumbling from the Bama fans, and there are a bunch of them here tonight.
And I think it's important for Florida to get a lead right here too, Chuck. They were swept by Alabama in Tuscaloosa earlier this year. In fact, Alabama has won 15 of the last 16 meetings between these two schools, including 11 in a row dating back to 1997. So it's been a long time since Florida's beaten Alabama in baseball.
Alabama dropped a 3-game series the last regular season weekend. There's one chopped to third. Once again, Rice gloves it, fires it on in time to get Sheely by a step. Moving on to second base on the play is Pat Osborne.
Almost an identical play that Osborne had. One off the thumbs right there. Sheely doesn't have quite the speed that Osborne has, but again, Rice makes another outstanding off-balance play and shows that nice strong arm.
Tony Walsh making the call, the first base umpire. The batter now will be Ben Harrison, a sophomore from Key West, Florida. The designated hitter had a big 3-run homer against the Georgia Bulldogs yesterday. His 7th of the year. Harrison, a good-looking athlete.
Normally doesn't play against right-handers in the DH slot, but I guess after hitting a 3-run bomb yesterday, you got to put him in there.
Swing and a miss on a curveball. The gap is in right center field for Ben Harrison. You can see that.
You can run all day if you hit one out there.
Yeah, they shade him around toward left. Playing him to pull. There's one grounded weakly to first base. Brent Boyd will take care of this, but Florida gets a run on a couple of hits. There were no errors. 1 left on. We played 1. And the Gators lead the Bama Crimson Tide 1-0. This is the SEC Baseball Tournament on CSS, your source for sports in the Southeast. I'm Chuck Hushin along with Rusty Enzer at the Hoover Met. Hoover, Alabama. Folks just easing here on a nice Thursday evening watching SEC Tournament baseball.
Nothing like taking in a baseball game after a hard day at work. Still got fans coming in here, just now getting off work here in the Birmingham, Hoover area.
Alabama will send the 4, 5, and 6 hitters up to face Alex Hart. First ball hitting. Scott McClanahan drives one deep. Not deep enough at the edge of the warning track. Jake Reardon hauls it in. And there's one out.
Pitcher's ballpark, like we've said all week so far, Chuck. 385 to the gaps. And McClanahan probably, if he's playing in Tuscaloosa, that's a solo home run right there. But a lot of room out in left and right center field. Just makes the edge of the warning track.
That's a deep center field, 405, but the power alleys are what makes this a big ballpark. 385 in the alleys and 340 down the lines. Batter now will be Brent Boyd.
Most of these guys are used to playing, 370, 375 maybe in the alleys, and that extra 10 feet cost McClanahan right there.
Hart sends one upstairs, so Boyd out in front on the count here. 2 balls, no strikes. Brent Boyd's been around a long time, finally a senior. He's from Fort Worth, Texas. 7 home runs, 44 RBI, and you can see at a 275 batting average. He broke out of an 0 for 16 slump yesterday with 3 hits.
Jim Wells thinks he's a real key hitting behind Brown and McClanahan, because those 3 guys really get the Crimson Tide going. Those are 3 veterans that lead this squad.
And that pitch misses for ball 4. Boyd has had some success against the Gators. He batted .333, went 4 for 12 in the series back in early April in Tuscaloosa. So the potential tying run is on at first base. And the batter now will be Chad White. White, the sophomore from Prattville, Alabama. And Hart sends one high and away to him. That's 5 straight balls from Alex Hart now. Hart with an excellent strikeout to walks ratio, 74 Ks and only 47 walks during the course of the season.
6'5", he is built like a pitcher, isn't he, Chuck?
He is. Baseball America back in 1998 named him the high school player of the year coming out of Chambersburg High. And the Baltimore Orioles picked him number 2 in the draft, but passed that up to go to the University of Florida, and then had some arm problems. The 1-1 low and inside, and the count 2 balls and 1 strike now on Chad White.
A lot of guys are opting for the college route. We talked about Drew Meyer last night. He turned down a big bonus out of high school to go to South Carolina several years ago. Todd Helton, that played for Tennessee, now with the Rockies. He turned the Padres down and decided to go to the University of Tennessee.
That works for a lot of players. Others it doesn't.
That's exactly right.
You see their value fall sometimes when they go on to college. 2-2 the count on Chad White. Here's Hart's pitch. Fouled back this way. He almost had that.
I was all over that one.
So the count holds at 2-2. Brent Boyd is your runner at first base. He had played a lot of second base for Bama. Then they moved him to first. There's a swing and a miss on a curveball. Nice pitch from Alex Hart. And down goes Chad White, the first strikeout of the night for Alex Hart.
Good way to come back after that ball to Boyd. Curveball down and into the left-hander. That's where you got to put it. You don't want to hang it right there at the belt.
And Bo Herod will be the batter now. You see his number. 10 home runs. 47 RBI. 318 is batting average. The team average for Alabama is 315. Not too shabby. Bo was 1 for 3 yesterday. There's a 1-0. Fouled up the first base side. And the count even up now. 1 ball and 1 strike. 2 are gone for Alabama. Runner at first base, Brent Boyd. As Florida leads it 1-0. 1-2-0 for the Gators. 0-0 thus far for the Crimson Tide. Fastball high, and the count will now go to 2 balls and 1 strike on Herod.
He's been pretty hot lately. 345 in his last 9 games. It's always a nice feeling coming into postseason tournament play.
And he hit 455 against Florida. There's a chopper to short. Kiger goes to second, 1, and that will do it. They get the force play on Brent Boyd, and the side is out. No runs, no hits, no errors. 1 left on. We've played an inning and a half. Still Florida 1, Alabama nothing. You're watching college baseball on CSF. From Hoover Met Stadium, you see the score. Florida leading Alabama as the Gators come up here in the bottom half of the second inning. And the 6, 7, and 8 hitters to face Lance Cormier. Matt Goss will stand in there, the senior from Bartow, Florida, playing in right field tonight. Cormier sends one inside, ball 1. Goss, the leading base stealer, having a good year. 6 home runs, 47 RBI. 333 his average. Here's one grounded to second base. Easy play for Peter Stoner as he throws out Matt Goss, so there's 1 out. Bird Dogs out again tonight. Major League Scouts with the big league draft just a couple of weeks away in early June.
When both Cormier and Hart are in motion, all those speed guns, it looks like a highway patrol meeting on a big speed trap or something down like that down there.
Here's Aaron Soberai. Soberai, the left fielder. 354, 5 home runs, 47 RBI, second team all SEC, and he takes a strike from Lance Cormier. Outfield plays him to pull around toward left. Swing and a miss. Nice breaking ball from Cormier, and he's out in front on Soberai. No balls, 2 strikes.
Good change of pace. Got to keep him off balance. Florida really swings the bat well as a team. So you got to be able to nibble and change speeds.
Waste pitch is upstairs, and the count goes to a ball and 2 strikes now on Aaron Soberai. Hitting number 7 in the order, Brian Rose waits on deck. You can see some sort of breaking ball coming up on the outside part of the plate, and it's grounded towards short. In to grab it, Pavkovich. He throws it on. Nice dig over at first base by Brent Boyd. And Aaron Soberai is out 6-3.
That's another thing Boyd does extremely well. He plays a good defense at first base. In the first game today, we had Matthew Brinson from Mississippi State. He's got a sweet glove at first. Boyd shows you a little work right there.
So Brian Rose will stand in there, the big catcher for the University of Florida. Rose hitting .288 with 7 home runs and 44 RBI. Told you a moment ago, .315 the team batting average for Alabama. Florida checks in with a .352 team batting average, and one of the top teams in the country, certainly at the top of the SEC. 1-0 fouled back, and the count even up on Rose at 1 ball, 1 strike.
We talked about these 2 catchers tonight. Both of them have played well behind the plate all year long. Both of these guys are semifinalists for the Johnny Bench Award, which goes to the nation's top catcher.
Slow roller. Pavkovich gloves and throws out Rose, and the side is out. 3 up, 3 down for Florida. We go to the 3rd. Still Gators 1, Alabama nothing on CSS. The 3rd inning. Well, there, you talk about relaxing at the ballpark. That may be overdoing it just a bit.
Well, yes. She's waiting for the LSU game, which comes up after this contest. And
who cares who wins this one?
She's
right?
getting a little shut-eye, a little catnap before the Tigers play.
Adam Pavkovich will lead it off. The shortstop for the Alabama Crimson Tide hits number 8 in the order. He's a sophomore from Venice, Florida. And Alex Hart sends him a strike. Pavkovich tallied 3 hits and scored 3 runs, drove in a couple in the first round win over Mississippi State. He had a big day yesterday.
Another great shortstop name here in this SEC tournament. Earlier today for Mississippi State, we had Matthew Maniscalco for Mississippi State. And now we've got Pavkovich. Not only do they have great baseball names, but they also have excellent gloves and pretty good sticks.
That one fouled back to the screen, so Pavkovich in the hole here. No balls and 2 strikes. Alan Rice, freshman 3rd baseman, waits on deck. Again, as in the first game we did this morning, the on-deck batter cheats down, way on down, to take a look at the stuff that Alex Hart's bringing up there. Get a good look at it. Alan Rice is almost in your picture.
I think that's the furthest we've seen.
There's one ripped down the line in right field. It's in for a base hit. Pavkovich at first, on his way to second, and he'll go in with a stand-up double. Tying run at second base for the Alabama Crimson Tide, and nobody out.
Nice job of hitting by Pavkovich right there. He got kind of a bad break, really, because the ball, as soon as it lands in right field, kind of skips to the left. You figure the ball is going to take off and bounce to the right, and that helps Goss cut it off a little quicker, thus holding Pavkovich to a double.
So Rice will stand in there to face Alex Hart. Alan Rice, 2nd leading hitter against Florida, and he nugs one down the 3rd base line. It's gloved by Osborne, and he throws it on in time to get Alan Rice, who does his job and moves a runner up 90 feet. Adam Pavkovich is now at 3rd.
I don't know if you saw that, Chuck, but Sheely, in the last game, we had a couple of drop balls in the outfield because of the sun. But watch Sheely here. He kind of shies away from it. I don't know if you can tell from that angle, but that ball was right in the sun. We've got a tough sun right now with the shadows. If you're the batter, the pitcher's a little bit in the sunlight, so the ball's coming out of the sun and into the shadows right now.
So Travis Garner, the leadoff man, will stand in, and he takes a slider outside, ball 1. Get a look at it. This is...
There you go. That's what the right fielders were looking at in the last game. Of course, it was a little bit higher in the sky, and it was just almost impossible to see a ball out in the outfield.
Garner fouls one back. He has a 7-game hitting streak going right now. During that streak, he's 11 for 27, hitting .407. So the leadoff man's been getting it done for the Crimson Tide. Nationally, this is a battle between the 11th and 12th ranked teams in the country, according to which poll you believe. Here's a little foul pop out of play. Florida in at number 11 according to Baseball America, and the Alabama Crimson Tide in at 12. Another poll that has a Crimson Tide up at about 7. Jim Wells, head coach of Bama, and he has done a tremendous job.
Well, no question about it. 6 straight NCAA appearances between '96 and 2000. Of course, they'll go again this year. And he's done a nice job because Alabama didn't even qualify for the SEC tournament last year.
And he dropped third strike as Garner chased one in the dirt, and then Rose put a quick tag on him as he thought about going to first base.
Nice breaking ball, and what you've got to do if you're Rose, you just fall down in front of the ball, let it hit you in the chest protector. That's why you've got that on. Keep the ball in front of you. Tagged him out without having to make a throw, and that was pretty key because Pavkovich is on third base, and he could have come home on that throw.
Well, it's also a big play because it takes away the fly ball from the Alabama Crimson Tide. With 2 outs, Peter Stonard will stand in there.
Good point.
No balls, 1 strike on the number 2 hitter, the second baseman for Bama. And he's going to rip one up the middle. Base hit. Game tied 1-1. Peter Stonard drives home his 36th run of the year. .410 batting average coming in.
He's been solid all year, Chuck, for Alabama, and you know they can beat you so many different ways. Davidson makes a great play for this ball, but again he almost overruns it. By the time he dives, his glove is actually past the ball, so he has no chance to stop it. Best thing he could hope for would have been stopping it with his forearm, but he would not have had to play at first base.
And a pitch down low to Jeremy Brown, who flied out to right field his first time. So it took a 2-out hit, and Peter Stonard delivered with a single up the middle, and we're even at 1 apiece here. The stretch by Alex Hart, 13-1 on the year. His only loss coming to Alabama back in early April.
Stonard, he's stolen 16 bases this year. Ranks 3rd on the Alabama club.
That fastball high and tight. And the count now 2 balls and no strikes on Jeremy Brown. Brown has 10 home runs on the season.
Started 242 games in his Alabama career. Scored 237 runs. Has been credited with 1,606 putouts.
He also got his 300th career hit in yesterday's game, and he's the 4th Alabama player to reach that milestone.
Those are some amazing stats right there. Durability, he's been injury-free.
The 2-1 is just inside, so Brown has worked it to a 3-1 count here. On deck hitter Scott McClanahan, who flirted with a home run towards center field his first time up. Here's the 3-1 from Hart, fouled back out of play. Right off the press box. Boy, that almost went into the press box. And I know there are no hands in there.
You got that right.
McClanahan waiting on deck. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Runner will be going here as Stonard will get the jump. And Florida plays behind him. Saw Ryan Shealy tell Alex Hart that. So the 3-2 pitch upstairs, ball 4. So a little 2-out trouble here for Alex Hart as those runners at first and second for Bama now, and hot hitting Scott McClanahan coming up.
Big 3-run home run yesterday against Mississippi. Here he comes up here in the 3rd with 2 runners on and 2 outs. Hit a deep fly ball to left center the last time up.
He has not had a big career against Alabama as he grounds harmlessly to shortstop Kiger, and they get the force at second. He's only 2 for 14 against Alabama this season. So Bama gets a run. They tie Florida at 1 apiece. You're watching SEC baseball. Following the conclusion of this game, stay tuned for the day's final game between LSU and South Carolina. Another winner's bracket game. That's right here on CSS, your source for sports in the Southeast.
4 pretty good teams playing tonight.
Yeah. And those LSU fans revved up and ready to go. This is their time of the year for the first time. Of course, under Smoke Laval as they go into the post-game wars. Skip Bertman, now the athletic director at LSU. What a job he did.
A lot of SEC coaches move around. We had Ron Polk, who went from Georgia back to Mississippi State. Pat McMahon went from Mississippi State to Florida. Smoke Laval was actually an assistant coach at Florida years ago when I was playing at Tennessee. He was the third base coach. I kind of talked about some old stories with him the last time. He had forgotten about a lot of them.
That was a long time ago. Not that you're old now, but that was a ways back.
Yeah, it was 20 years ago, you know. But of course, I told him I was a much better player now than I was then. Of course, he believed me.
Pat McMahon going through the signals. He's making his third stop. Old Dominion, Mississippi State, now the University of Florida as he comes back to his home state. That pitch inside from Lance Cormier. And the count 2 balls and no strikes on the leadoff man for the Florida Gators here in the third, Jake Reardon.
Matt Stewart interviewing former Vanderbilt coach Roy Mewburn at SEC Central between games, and you know, he's retired after 24 years, so it'll be interesting to see which way Vanderbilt goes. They might be looking at some of the assistants on one of these clubs tonight as a possible person to fill the head coaching position at Vanderbilt.
That's a great point. 2 balls, 2 strikes now on Reardon. Reardon, a junior, native of Gainesville, Florida, transferred from Santa Fe Community College. He fouls one over by the Florida dugout, scattering folks.
Got to be alert even on the bench. Had a Georgia, I guess a student manager or trainer, someone got hit in the first game today.
Got hit in the face. Hopefully he's okay. That was Jamie Goldfarb that had to do a little dance to get out of the way of that one. So the count holds 2 balls, 2 strikes. We have a 1-1 game here in the bottom half of the third inning. Alabama and the Florida Gators. That's some great rivalries in the SEC, and there is no love lost between these two either. There's one fouled back. Reardon continues to hang tough. Take a look at catcher Jeremy Brown.
Should get something interesting here at 2-2. This is going to be an out pitch.
Could be a little change of pace, and a trip foul down the first base side. So Reardon not giving an inch here.
Well, you don't want to give in to the 9th place hitter, that's for sure.
That's 7 pitches now, and there's one grounded towards short. Pavkovich up with it, throws it on in time to get Reardon by a step.
Nice hustle by Jake Reardon right there.
So that's 3 consecutive assists for Alabama shortstop Adam Pavkovich. Now we go back to the top of the order once again, and Mark Kiger. Kiger came into the tournament batting .424. Saw that average drop 10 points yesterday with an 0 for 5 day against Georgia. He's now down to .414 and singled his first time up to right field. First pitch, breaking ball, picks up the inside corner, strike 1.
Nice player. Played second base the last couple of years at Florida, moved over to shortstop to help solidify the defense this year. Soft hands, great ball player.
Here's the 0-1, and it misses. Count evens, 1 ball, 1 strike. Series between these two schools goes back to 1920. Alabama leads the overall series, 44 wins for the Tide, 30 wins for the Gators. And Alabama has beaten Florida, as Rusty mentioned, 11 straight times coming into the night's game. The 1-1 is inside a fastball, and the count goes to 2-1. Home plate umpire Paul Gilly getting a lot of help here tonight. There are a lot of other umpires out at tonight's game.
Men in blue have done a nice job.
I think so too.
Hadn't really seen any sort of arguments or anything in this entire tournament.
That pitch is high and tight, so the count goes to 3-1 now on Mark Kiger. Get a look at Tony Walsh, first base umpire. Scott Irby is at second, and David Savage over at third. And the man behind the plate, Paul Gilly, calls that strike on Kiger, so it's 3-2 now. One out, nobody on for Florida in a 1-1 game. We're in about half of the third inning. Fastball low and away, ball 4. So Kiger draws a walk. Good at bat for him.
He's been on base twice now, and again, you said yesterday he wore the collar 0 for 5. 57 walks now for Kiger this year. That is incredible for a leadoff hitter, and that's your job as a leadoff hitter. You got to get on, whether it's a base hit, a walk. You've got to be patient. You got to make the pitcher work. Nice job both times at bat so far tonight for Kiger.
So the batter now will be Davidson, the second baseman. Aaron Davidson grounded out to first base unassisted his first time. Kiger pretty good on base percentage at .538 for the season now. He gets his lead over at first base. There's a fastball that moves Davidson back off the plate, and Lance Cormier falls behind here. 2 balls and no strikes.
Excuse me, Chuck. All kinds of speed at the top of this Florida lineup. Kiger's got 10 stolen bases, but Davidson 17 of 18 on the year. He's the real base stealing threat for the Gators, but lots of speed, and when those guys get on, they can round the bases for Osborne and Shealy.
Well, this is a great place for a hit and run, but Kiger's holding, and the pitch misses. It's 3-0 now. So Cormier, as Hart did in the top of this inning, having a little trouble with control. You see Mark Kiger, he gets his lead at first base. Cormier, the 3-0 is right down the chute, taking strike 1. So 3 balls, 1 strike, 1 out, 1 on for the Gators. We're even at 1 apiece. The lights come on. A beautiful night for baseball here at the Hoover Met. There goes a runner. There's a bunt right out in front, and it's off the foot of Aaron Davidson.
Alabama's going to say that Davidson was out of the batter's box, but Gilly immediately made the call. No, he was in the batter's box. Watch it again right here. He was right off his foot.
Right off the big toe.
You come out of the batter's box, you're automatically out.
But he was still in the box when the ball struck him, so the count goes to 3 balls and 2 strikes, and it'll be interesting to see if Kiger is going here with only 1 out.
That was an interesting play right there. Kiger was going on the last pitch, and Florida had a little bunt and run going.
You see a little bit of everything at the Southeastern Conference tournament. Alabama thinking the same thing. They want to hold Kiger close.
Well, Davidson's going to be tough to double up regardless, unless he just hits about a one hopper to shorter second. But you still might want to get the runner in motion in Kiger.
3-2 pitch, runner gone. Ball is fouled back, so the count will hold. Kiger, as Rusty mentioned, 10 for 12 in the stolen base department this season. Lance Cormier, the right-hander from Lafayette, Louisiana. 6'1", 195, a senior. He has been around a long time. Led the SEC in saves as a freshman with 11. Once again, 3-2 pitch coming up. There goes a runner. Ball down low, ball 4, and Florida has runners at first and second with only 1 out.
That's 2 straight walks for Cormier right now. He's going to have a little visit with himself.
Pat Osborne will be the batter now, and you see what he has done. Little bleeder down the line that he beat out for a base hit that scored the first run for Florida back in the bottom of the first inning. So Pat Osborne will stand in there, the junior from Bakersfield, California.
That bleeder went down as a line drive in my score.
Oh, yes. Line score is dead even for Alabama, 1-2-0, for the Florida Gators, 1-2-0. And a strike to Osborne. Both of these teams over 40 wins, both virtually certain of hosting a regional tournament next week when it all comes about. That pitch misses, and the count even up now. 1 ball and 1 strike on Pat Osborne, the number 3 hitter in the order. Ryan Sheely waits on deck as Jim Wells calls the pitches. A little unusual. He serves as his own pitching coach. But, you know, if you know it well, why hire somebody else?
That's exactly right. You know, and some managers like to keep that control. Some coaches like to go ahead and take the responsibility of coaching third base. Ron Polk's done that for years.
There's one hit toward the gap in right center field, but moving over McClanahan. He's going to run it down. Tiger bluffs to go toward throw, and a strong throw by McClanahan will make sure he stays at second base.
Nice play by McClanahan there. Got himself in position. As we take a look at the replay, Osborne just didn't hit it far enough into right center, but McClanahan squares his body up, and he's going towards third base as he catches the baseball. That was just really good fundamentally sound baseball right there.
McClanahan holds the Alabama career record with 22 outfield assists.
Think Kiger knew that?
I'm sure he did. He's got 8 on this year. So the batter now will be Ryan Sheely. It will take a 2-out hit. Runners lead away at first and second. Sheely grounded to third his first time on a nice play by Allen Rice. That pitch upstairs, ball 1.
This guy's a great hitter, Chuck. Nice and compact. He's got that front shoulder tucked in, drives the ball very well to the opposite field.
Has 21 home runs on the season. That ties him with Jerome Peters for the 2002 home run crown in the SEC. Runners at first and second. Kiger at second. Davidson at first. 1-1 the count on Ryan Sheely. Cormier rocks and fires. Fastball outside corner at the knee. Call strike 2. Perfect pitch.
Well, not much you can do with that. You just got to credit Cormier with that one. Dig back in and hope for the best the next time around at 1-2.
Rhythmic applause by the Bama crowd. They'd like to see a strikeout here. The big slugger for the University of Florida, Ryan Sheely. Sheely thinking otherwise. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Cormier with the pitch. Just misses, and the count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Got a few Alabama umpires behind the plate, don't we? That ball was off the plate. That was a good call back there.
He's about 6 inches out of the zone.
Got a bunch of Mississippi State fans in the first game today umping behind the plate. Now it's a lot of red in this crowd.
Yeah, they had cowbells too. There's a quick throw back to second base, and they get Kiger. Pickoff play as the second baseman, Peter Stonard, sneaks in behind Kiger. And they put the tag on him to retire the side. You can watch it as we go out. Very close play. After 3 innings of play, still 1-1 on CSS.
Thursday Night Fights, only on CSS, your source for sports in the Southeast.
We head to the 4th inning. Alabama and Florida all tied at 1, and you get to watch this pickoff play once again. Kiger made that ill-fated step, and
nice job of blocking the base by Stonard.
Scott Irby with the call. appeared to be right on it.
Yep.
There's Boyd. He rips a base hit to left field. Over to cut it off is Jake Reardon. He'll get it back and hold Brent Boyd to a single. So Boyd on the night is 1 for 1. He walked back in the second and now a single to lead off the fourth.
Well, I think he's officially out of that slump. What do you think?
Yeah, he had 3 hits yesterday and just in time for Alabama. Bama and Florida battling here. The winner will get tomorrow off. The loser will take on the Mississippi State Bulldogs. And that game will take place at 4 Eastern tomorrow afternoon. Hart sends a pitch down low to Chad White, the left fielder. He was a strikeout victim his first time. He only has, I'm talking about Alex Hart, he only has 1 strikeout so far tonight. Here's 1-0. Picks up the outside corner and the count even. And 1 ball and 1 strike. Outfield shaded toward left. They play him to push the ball over that way, and he grounds it to second base. It's bobbled by Davidson. He throws it on in time to get Chad White by a step as Aaron Davidson stays with it. Moving on to second base on the play is Brent Boyd.
Good job by Davidson. It was not a double play ball. Plus, he was going to his left. He was going to first base all the way. Nice job of staying with it.
So with 1 down, Bo Herod will stand in there. He hit into a fielder's choice his first time. And the first pitch misses. Potential go-ahead run at second base. And Brent Boyd with only 1 out. And Tiger sneaking in behind Boyd now and chase him back.
He got caught leaning to third to end the last inning, and he tried to return the favor on Boyd.
Hart with the 1-0. Sends it down low, and the count goes to 2 balls and no strikes. You see the numbers on Alex Hart.
Kind of spreading it around, didn't he?
52 pitches over 3 1/3. Here's a 2-0 upstairs. Herod falls behind, or rather ahead in the count here. 3 balls, no strikes. He's hit safely in 7 of his last 9 games and reached base safely in 9 straight. So he's been cranking along for Coach Jim Wells. They have a left-handed DH, Zach Welch, who normally would go against the right-hander, but Herod has been doing it with a stick, and he lines one to short center field. That's going to get in for a base hit. Boyd at third base falls down. He's going to have to go back, and Alabama's going to have runners at the corners here with only 1 out. And a little bloop to center field.
That was a nice job by Reardon in center field. He was trying to sell the fact to Boyd that he was going to make the play. He had his glove out, but Boyd was not buying it, and he took off to third. Reardon with a nice hustling play holds him at third base.
He hits the brakes, and if he go one way and Boyd goes the other, and he has to go back to third. But Alabama has this threat alive. Runners at the corners and only 1 out, and the batter now will be Adam Pavkovich. Pavkovich had a double his first time down the right field side, ended up scoring the only run of the game for the Bama Crimson Tide back in the 3rd inning. Pitch is upstairs, ball 1. Adam Pavkovich, pretty good speed. He'll be hard to double.
We're going to have a little visit on the mound here. I'm not suggesting that you squeeze bunt right here, but Pavkovich is an excellent bunter. He's only 1 shy of to tie the record for Alabama. He's got 11 this year, and the record is 12.
This is Ross Jones, a pitching coach for the University of Florida, out to talk things over. Make sure everyone's on the same page. One more game to follow this one as LSU takes on the South Carolina Gamecocks. That's the 4th seed, Bengal Tigers, against the Gamecocks, the number 1 seed. couldn't draw up better weather for baseball than we've had here in Hoover, Alabama for this SEC tournament.
Just perfect.
Conference over. Ross Jones departs, and Hart will go to work against Pavkovich. Pavkovich hails from Venice, Florida. He's just a sophomore. Outfield, step or two around toward left. They play him pretty much straight away. First pitch from Hart is popped up. Foul territory up the first base side. Shealy will make the grab for out number 2. So a big out recorded as Adam Pavkovich fouls out to the first baseman. And that will make it up to Alan Rice here to deliver a 2-out hit.
Exactly right, Chuck. Huge out right there. That takes away all the possibilities now with 2 outs. Ground ball won't score you. Sac fly won't score you.
Alan Rice, the freshman, he's from Pelham, Alabama, here in the Birmingham area. No home runs, 15 RBI, 241 his batting average, playing at third base. He's made a couple of good plays defensively. Hart fastball misses outside.
Struggled of late a little bit at the with the stick, but he has hit safely in 3 of his last 5 games.
Runners lead away at the corners. And the pitch is ripped toward left, down for a base hit. Alabama takes a 2-1 lead, and we're going to have runners at second and third with 2 outs. A double by Alan Rice, a number 9 hitter in the order, and Bama jumps on top.
Nice job of hitting by Rice in the 9-hole right here. Hart's working the outside part of the plate. He's not going to try to pull the ball. Location was supposed to be on the inside part of the plate. That got away from him. Got most of the outer third, and he just drove it right down the left field line. Landed about 6 inches fair.
He's had a hot hand against Florida pitching this season, hitting .364, 4 for 11. And he just delivers big time. His 16th RBI of the year. That pitch misses to Travis Garner. And the count even up now. 1 ball and 1 strike. Herod is over at third base. Alan Rice on at second. And the line drive retires aside. So Alabama comes up with a run on a couple of hits. No errors. And 2 left. 2-1 Bama on CSS. Chuck Husham with Rusty Enzor as we go now to the bottom half of the 4th inning. Hoover Metropolitan Stadium loaded with cars tonight. The parking lot vendor is making a bundle.
Well, it's just after 6 o'clock here in the Central Time Zone. A lot of people have now gotten off work, gone home, maybe changed clothes, and have gotten out to the ballpark. It's slowly but surely getting full here for this night session.
Leadoff man is Ryan Shealy. He was at the plate when Kiger was picked off at second base to end the 3rd inning for the Florida Gators. 2-1 the score. Bama leads it. There's a ball hit high in the air toward right center field. A long run over there, and the ball juggled, and Scott McClanahan hangs on for out number 1.
Boy, he really covered some ground right there. He was playing on the second base side of center field. He went a long way for that ball and juggles it and hangs on.
You saw him with a smile back to the infield saying, hey, I had it all the way. So 1 is gone, and the batter now will be Ben Harrison. Florida Gators trailing 2-1, 1 out and nobody on. Harrison grounded to first base unassisted his first time, and he rips one fair down the left field line. Ben Harrison at first will truck on into second base with a stand-up double, and the Gators have the potential tying run in scoring position at second with only 1 out.
Harrison's had a good tournament thus far, Chuck, coming up with a couple of big hits for the Gators.
We'd like to welcome everyone watching this game on Comcast Sports Southeast Channel 6 in Augusta, as you see Harrison ripping it down the line. And he makes second base easily. Chad White comes up with it. So the batter now will be Matt Goss, the right fielder. That's the 8th double of the season for Ben Harrison from Key West, Florida. Pitch is down low.
No wonder he's so relaxed at the plate.
One ball and no strikes on Matt Goss. Harrison gets his lead. And this pitch misses outside. And the count goes to 2-0. I'd like to welcome everyone watching also on Comcast Sports Southeast Channel 27 in Nashville, Tennessee, and Charter Sports Southeast Channel 65 in Montgomery, Alabama. Great ball game so far, 2-1, as Alabama leads Florida, and we get time called. Matt Goss steps out on Lance Cormier. Florida scored one in the bottom of the first. Alabama tied it in the top of the third as the ground ball to Boyd, and he underhands on to Cormier for the second out. The runner moves to third. And then Alabama took the lead with a run in the top of the fourth, and that's where we are now. The tying run just 90 feet away for the Florida Gators. And Aaron Soberai, the left fielder, will stand in. Now, in the top of this inning, Allen Rice came up with a 2-out hit that got Alabama the lead. The same pressures on Soberai now. Aaron Soberai, all SEC second team, takes a strike. No balls, 1 strike, 2 outs. Ben Harrison over at third base. That one is down low, and count evens up at 1-1. LSU and South Carolina to follow. Here's a 1-1 pitch. That one's in for a strike, and the count 1-2 now. And Aaron Soberai went to Dunedin High School in Clearwater, Florida. There's your base runner. Ben Harrison has his lead. Lance Cormier winds, and the 1-2 is high and tight, so 2 balls and 2 strikes now on Soberai. 2-2 pitch. Look for something away on the corner here.
Yeah, after going up and in, that's exactly right.
And he runs it in. Fastball that came in on the hands of Soberai, swing and a miss, and Florida out of the inning. No runs, a hit, no errors, 1 left. We played 4, Alabama 2, Florida 1. This is the SEC tournament on CSS. Fans continue to file in. The Hoover Metropolitan Stadium in Hoover, Alabama, the site of the 2002 Southeastern Conference baseball tournament. Bama fans see their team on top 2-1 to the Florida Gators. Alabama will send up the 2, 3, and 4 hitters to face Alex Hart here. Peter Stonard leads it off. He had a single up the middle his last time. Takes a strike, and the count even at 1 ball and 1 strike. Stonard is 1 for 2 on the evening. Came in hitting .410. He ripped a single right up the middle last time, and this time he hits a foul ball down the left field side. Hit the statistician with a fruit plate here. Is that right?
I believe so.
Are we living right here? Oh, he's going to share. Okay. That pitch misses. Count 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Hey, see, there he is, eating right there. Look at him.
Fruit plate. Nothing like it. Luscious strawberry. Can't go wrong. There's a rip right at the shortstop. Mark Kiger grabs it off at his ankles, and there's 1 down. So with one gone, the batter will be Jeremy Brown. Brown is 0 for 1 on the evening. All SEC performer. He's sitting number 3 in the order. Jeremy Brown has put up some tremendous numbers in his 4-year career with the Alabama Crimson Tide. I remember doing some games on radio when he was a freshman, and he was a tough out then.
He's been a great college baseball player, and if you're a youngster watching the game at home, this is how you want to model yourself after. He comes to the ballpark ready to play. He plays every day. He hustles, and being a catcher, that's not easy to do, but hey, he's getting dirty. He's getting pounded every day, and hats off to Jeremy Brown.
Well, he's in the driver's seat here. 3 balls, no strikes, and now ball 4 as Jeremy Brown draws yet another walk. That's his 59th walk of the season. Second time in a row he's drawn a free pass, and Scott McClanahan will be the batter. Pat McMahon. His pitcher Alex Hart, the leading pitcher in the SEC at 13-1 coming in, but he struggled with his control a little bit tonight.
He averages about 4 walks per 9 innings, but he's already got 3 tonight, and we're just in the top of the 5th.
Earlier in his career at the University of Florida, he underwent elbow surgery and came back from that. And they count 1 ball, no strikes on Hartselle, Alabama, Scott McClanahan. We get some activity in the Florida bullpen. That pitch is in for a strike, no doubt about that one, and the count even up now. 1 ball and 1 strike. Pat McMahon in his career is 5-13 against the University of Alabama.
It's Eric Menon in the bullpen for the Gators.
There's one hit high in the air, but foul, coming back and out of play in the seats. And the left-hander Jamie Goldfarb is up and loosening from Merritt Island, Florida.
You have to look at the right stat sheet, don't you?
There's Goldfarb.
Now we got the right guy.
So 1-2 the count. And this one popped up on the infield. Aaron Davidson, the second baseman, calls for it and takes it for out number 2. Good job of pitching that time by Alex Hart after he got behind in the count.
Nice job by Hart. You know, he hadn't been tremendously sharp tonight, not typical Alex Hart baseball, but you know, he's done a nice job on the 3, 4, and 5 hitters. The only person to reach base via a base hit has been Boyd, and that was the last time up with a single.
There's a pitch outside and high to Brent Boyd. Boyd led off with a single in the 4th inning, came around to score the go-ahead run for the Alabama Crimson Tide. They're up 2-1. Hart sends this one low and away, so he's behind on this batter. 2 balls and no strikes. A runner at first base, Jeremy Brown. 2 are gone. We're in the top half of the 5th inning already. Get a look at Brown. Now the fruit parade is gone. I got none of it. That pitch misses again. It's 3 balls and no strikes now. Runner gets his lead over at first base. They're not holding Brown. There's an inside pitch on the corner, and the count goes to 3-1.
When you've played in as many consecutive games as Jeremy Brown, you're probably not a threat to steal.
That pitch picks up the outside corner, so Hart battling back. It's 3 balls and 2 strikes now. Brown will be off to the races, as much as he can go off to the races. The stretch and the payoff pitch inside, ball 4. So Boyd draws his second walk of the ball game. Florida has runners at first and second now, and Chad White will come to the plate, the left fielder. He's 0 for 2.
Brown with three hits, Boyd with 3 hits yesterday. He's been on base all 3 times tonight, 2 walks and a single.
4 walks for Alex Hart now. All of them coming to Jeremy Brown and Brent Boyd. And that pitch misses. Chad White hails from Prattville, Alabama. He's a sophomore. Mark Kiger in to talk to Hart, try and settle him down a little bit. That fastball's in for a strike. And it's even up now. 1 ball and 1 strike on Chad White. Alabama with a 2-1 lead. You want to hold these guys close. You see the base runners at first and second. The 1-1 pitch is a high fastball that's fouled back. White posted a couple of hits, 5 in 5 at bats, including a 2-run double in yesterday's first round victory over Mississippi State. 18 hits for Alabama yesterday, and that's the most by any team in the tournament so far in one game. Although Arkansas came close, they had 15 in their win over Auburn this afternoon. There's a wild pitch, bounces away from the catcher Brian Rose. Now Bama has 2 runners in scoring position with 2 outs and a 2-2 count on Chad White, and that hit the front lip of the plate and bounced away. Rose never had a chance.
Just has not been on his game tonight. Hart bounces this one up there at about 58 feet. Not even a prayer for Rose to keep that ball in front of him.
2-2 pitch, and that hits Chad White. Got him on the ankle. It looked like he comes out limping, so the bases are going to be loaded here. Sacks are jammed with Crimson Tide. White's in a little bit of pain.
Number 5, designated hitter Bo Harris.
So Hart will now have a bases loaded situation, and Bo Herod will be the batter.
That breaking ball got away from him. Looks like it bounced right off the ankle. Might have got him on the ankle bone. That looks like where he's pointing right there. That's Smarts right there.
So the trainers out to see if White's okay as he tries to run it off for Alex Hart. That's his 7th hit batsman on the season. White's gonna hang in there. Sacks are full of Crimson Tide members. Runner at third base, Jeremy Brown. On at second base, Brent Boyd, and now Chad White with a gimpy leg over at first. Not a lot of speed out there. That pitch is in for a strike to Bo Herod. Herod is 1 for 2, single, back in the 4th inning.
Big time in the ball game from Hart right here. Herod with a chance to break this ball game open.
There's one hit high in the air towards center. Moving back on the ball, Jake Reardon. He runs it down. So Alex Hart and the Florida Gators dodge a bullet. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 3 Alabama Crimson Tide left on. Still Chuck Husham with Rusty Enzor as with the early evening moon looking down here, and a great evening for baseball at Hoover Metropolitan Stadium in Hoover, Alabama, home of the 2002 Southeastern Conference baseball tournament. And some good baseball here as Alabama leads Florida 2-1. Leadoff man will be Brian Rose, the catcher for the Florida Gators. The 8, 9, and leadoff men coming up here for Florida in the bottom half of the 5th inning. You see Lance Cormier.
He hadn't been overpowering tonight. He's done a nice job, but he's only struck out 1. He's walked 2, but Florida's put the ball in play, and Cormier has confidence in his defense behind him.
There's one hit toward the gap in right center field. After it, McClanahan. He won't catch up to this one as he's over. Cuts it off. And on into second base with a stand-up double, Brian Rose. So the leadoff man on second in scoring position. The potential tying run on base for the Florida Gators.
Nice job by Rose, taking that outside portion of the plate and just driving the ball to right center field. As we take a look at him, scooting out of the box. McClanahan, nice play over to cut it off. He has no play at second. Rose in easily with a stand-up double.
Jake Reardon will stand in now. The center fielder bats ninth in the order. We'll see if he's bunting here, trying to move the runner over. And Alabama is wondering the same thing as they bluff a go back towards second base to see if Reardon might commit. I didn't see him commit.
I didn't either.
There's a bunt, and it's foul over near the Florida dugout. So no balls and one strike.
It's like he was trying to push that one just past the pitcher towards the second baseman and try to beat it out with his speed. He's got excellent speed.
John Cohen, the third base coach, going through the signs for the Gators. They have the potential tying run on second base now, and big Brian Rose, and no balls, one strike on Reardon. Reardon transferred in from Santa Fe Community College. He's a hometown kid from Gainesville. And that pitch misses. Count even up. One ball and one strike. Lance Cormier, second team All SEC, battling Jake Reardon here. Cormier, the all-time winningest pitcher for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Top of the order man, Mark Kiger, waits on deck. The stretch. Cormier again. A bluff back towards second base. See, Brian Rose is a catcher, a big guy. He does not move all that well, so they can't be concerned with holding him that close. They're trying to see if Reardon is bunting. This time he's swinging away, fouls it out of play, and the count one ball and two strikes now on Jake Reardon. 62 pitches on the night thus far for Cormier.
And like I said, you know, he hasn't really been, you know, overpowering or anything. He hadn't been really that sharp, but he's gotten the job done, and he does have the lead right now. Reardon trying to do the same thing as Davidson did in the first inning, trying to get the ball to the right side of the infield on the ground.
1-2 pitch misses down low, and the count even up now. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Jake Reardon. Good crowd on hand to watch Alabama and Florida do battle in a winner's bracket game. Earlier today, Georgia and the Auburn Tigers were both eliminated. 2-2 pitch. It's cut on and missed, strike 3. So Reardon goes down swinging. That's only the second strikeout for Lance Cormier.
Nice pitch right there by Cormier. He's going to work the inside portion of the plate because he knows Reardon is trying to hit the ball to the right side. If you put it on the inside portion of the plate, it's almost impossible to get the ball to the first or the second baseman on the ground.
And that pitch tied him in knots. Now Mark Kiger will stand in. Kiger 1 for 1 on the night, singled and scored the Gators' only run back in the first inning. The stretch by Cormier. The ball is banged down to second base. Peter Stoner comes up with it, throws out Kiger. Moving on to third on the play is Brian Rose.
Number 2, second baseman Aaron Davidson.
So again, it takes a 2-out hit. If Florida wants to tie this thing up, Aaron Davidson will stand in there. He grounded to first unassisted, then drew a walk in the third. That was a pretty good at bat as he coaxed the walk from Lance Cormier. Only 2 walks for Cormier through 4 2/3. And Davidson tries to hold up his swing, but cannot do so. So no balls or 1 strike on the senior second baseman from Atascadero, California. Cormier ready again. 0-1 is bounced short to third. The throw on to first in time to get Davidson, and the side is out. Slow roller to third baseman Allen Rice. So again, Florida threatens, comes up empty. We go to the 6th inning. Still Alabama 2, Florida 1 on CSS. Sports.com for real-time statistics and in-depth information on every 2002 SEC baseball tournament game. Be sure to also visit the SEC online store for officially licensed tournament merchandise, including championship caps and t-shirts following Sunday's final game. SECsports.com, the official website of the Southeastern Conference. And still kick back and relax. Well, you come out to a college baseball game, you can just take it easy. Forget the workaday woes.
That's exactly right.
Adam Pavkovich will lead it off. Florida's had trouble getting runners home. They've stranded 5 through the first 5 innings, 4 of those in scoring position. Yesterday, Mississippi State stranded 12 runners against Alabama.
That's why they didn't win.
Pavkovich looks at a ball.
But they did a better job today against Georgia.
They did. 10-3 winners, Mississippi State. Ron Polk over his old club, the Georgia Bulldogs. And young David Perno. That pitch misses, and Hart falls behind on the leadoff man here in the 6th. 2-0, Adam Pavkovich.
Young shortstops had a nice tournament thus far. 3 for 3 yesterday. 1 for 2 today.
Hart into the wind. 2-0 pitch. Inside corner, call strike 1. Last inning, Hart walked Jeremy Brown. He walked Brent Boyd, and then he hit Chad White with a pitch to load the bases, but he was able to wiggle off the hook. There's one grounded foul down the third base side. So the count evens. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Adam Pavkovich. The 8, 9, and leadoff batters set to face Alex Hart here. The ball people are on the job here tonight. That's correct, isn't it?
That is correct.
Check swing, foul down the first base side this time. And the count holds at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
We were lacking those folks in the first game today. We had to wait a short period of time while Chaz Lytle ran over and picked up a foul ball that was kind of in play.
School was in session today. We got to remember that.
That's true.
2-2 pitch just misses. And the count goes full now on Pavkovich at 3-2. Alabama stranded a few of their own. They've stranded 8 base runners here in the first 5 innings. 4 of those in scoring position. Here's Hart's payoff pitch. Way upstairs, ball 4. That's 5 walks now. Adam Pavkovich draws a free pass to lead off the 6th inning.
That was a nice point you just made, Chuck, and I think that just reinforces it because neither pitcher, they pitched okay, but not up to each of their abilities. They haven't been sharp. Runners have gotten on base, but neither team has come up with the big hit when needed.
Well, another free pass. And you can check the statistics. 73% of the time you issue a leadoff walk, that runner's going to come around to score on you.
Yep.
Not a good thing to do. Alan Rice takes a pitch outside, ball 1. Action continues in the Gators bullpen. Goldfarb is up again, the left-hander. Here's the stretch by Hart. He goes to first, chasing Pavkovich back once again.
Well, it's a close game right now, just 2-1 as we play here in the top of the 6th, and I think Jim Wells probably thinks it's going to remain tight. Rice was squaring to bunt the first time.
There's a bunt foul down the third base side as Osborne comes in to glove it. You see the bullpen for the Florida Gators is Goldfarb continues to loosen.
I'd say he's ready by now.
Pavkovich, not a big base stealing threat. He's only 1 for 2, and there's a foul bunt attempt. So 1 ball, 2 strikes now on Alan Rice.
Tough break for Rice there. Nice job by Hart. Let's see how Jim Wells plays it with 2 strikes on the batter. Left-handed hitter, you could do a little hit and run. Maybe you've got a hole over there between first and second.
Here's a 1-2 pitch, fouled back as Rice is swinging away. He's 1 for 2 on the night. Had a big RBI double back in the 4th inning that scored the go-ahead run. That ball just inside the bag at third base. One ball, 2 strikes on left-handed hitting Alan Rice. There's a wild pitch. Ball gets away. And quick throw down to second base by Brian Rose from the backstop. Chases the runner. Pavkovich back in there.
Both of these catchers will throw it around. They want to show off their arm.
Watch this again as Hart bounces it up there.
Another 58-foot curveball.
But Rose did the smart thing. He tried to get out in front of the ball instead of trying to backhand it. Tried to shield it, but it got by him. And there's a grounder to short. They're going to go to third with it, and it's in time to get the runner Pavkovich. Base running error by Adam Pavkovich. The ball hit in front of him. Kiger, the smart shortstop, had an easy play at third base. You can watch it again.
Well, when you're on second base, the rule of thumb is that the ball is hit at or behind you, you take off for third. In that case, the ball was in front of Pavkovich, and he was nailed at third easily by Kiger. Nice heads-up play. Now he's out of scoring position.
So you put Alan Rice at first base on the fielder's choice. And there's a ball out in front of the plate that's dropped. Rose guns a throw down, but not in time. We'll see how they score on this one. They're going to roll pass ball. Pass ball on the catcher, Brian Rose. So just like that, Alabama has another runner in scoring position. Alan Rice on at second base. Still only one out. Top of the order up, Travis Garner. Hart sends one in there. It's top foul down to third base. Travis Garner, the junior from Sturgis, Mississippi, transferred in from Meridian Community College to the Alabama program. On the night, he is 0 for 3. There's one that hits Garner in the back. So it's going to be runners at first and second here with only one out. And the woes continue for Alex Hart. That's his second hit batsman of the night. He's also had 2 wild pitches tonight, 10 wild pitches on the season. Pat McMahon striding purposely to the mound. And we'll see if he's going to make a change here.
I don't think there's any doubt he's going to the pen.
Alex Hart, 13-game winner on the season for McMahon and the Florida Gators, just has not had the good stuff tonight.
Tough break. McMahon knows that's his ace right there.
McMahon talking things over. And here comes Jamie Goldfarb. 103 pitches in 5 innings plus. He's had a tough night.
Well, 103 pitches, that's pretty good. Both of these teams really, they want to win the championship, but really they're just setting their pitching staffs up for next week when they play in the NCAA tournament. That's the real prizes out there. Both of these teams trying to get to the College World Series.
So Jamie Goldfarb, a left-hander, comes on. 5'11", 175, a junior from Merritt Island, Florida. Another JUCO transfer, came in from Daytona Beach Community College. Originally went to Merritt Island High School. Goldfarb on the year 2 and 3 with a 2.52 earned run average. This is his 25th appearance of the season. In 39 in the third innings, he's got 43 hits, 11 earned runs, struck out 23, and walked 4. And he has 4 saves to go along with that, which is about a tie for third in the SEC. Jamie Goldfarb has the lowest ERA on the Gator staff at 2.52. So he's on to put out the fire here. Runners at first and second, only one out for the Alabama Crimson Tide as we play in the top half of the 6th inning. Bama on top, 2-1. Game to follow this one. It'll be LSU, the number 4 seed, going against top seed South Carolina.
The Southeastern Conference probably won't get as many teams in the NCAA tournament this year as they did last year. All 8 teams that participated in the tournament last year advanced on to the NCAAs. But you got 4 pretty good ball clubs, the top 4 seeds that are playing in this evening of the SEC tournament, and all 4 of them have a chance to go to Omaha.
Peter Stonard coming to the plate. That's his base hit in the 3rd inning. That allowed a run to score, scoring Pavkovich from third base, and he stands in there now trying to do some more damage.
Well, neither team has been able to come up with a big hit, but if you're Alabama, this is the guy you want on base. He's hitting .410 coming into the game, ranked second in hitting in the SEC, and he's 1 for 3 tonight.
Outfield plays him pretty much straight away. The center fielder, Jake Reardon, a couple of steps over toward left. So Goldfarb goes to work and sends a pitch in for a strike, the fastball.
It's what you want to do coming in out of the bullpen. You got to get ahead.
Great crowd here on Thursday night, SEC Day 2. This is game 3 of this session. Pitch off the mitt of Rose all the way to the backstop. Runners move up 90 feet. And the hole gets deeper for the Florida Gators. Now 2 runners in scoring position with only 1 out. Rode a wild pitch on Jamie Goldfarb.
Watch it again right here. Fastball just can't. Rose just can't seem to get a handle on it. It just kind of banks off the heel of his glove.
First wild pitch of the season for that man, Jamie Goldfarb. Here's a 1-1. This one on the outside corner to Stoner. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Stoner, hard man to strike out, but if you're Goldfarb right now, that's exactly what you're thinking on this 1-2 pitch.
And I thought a pretty good move by Pat McMahon, at least so far, to bring Goldfarb in here to face a left-handed hitting Stoner who can really bang it.
That's exactly right.
Bullpen stays active for the Gators. Here's a 1-2 pitch, and it's slapped to short. That's going to score a run. Kiger up with it, throws it across in time to get Stoner, but it's 3-1 now. Alabama over the Florida Gators. RBI number 36 on the season for Peter Stoner.
Well, he gets the job done right there. All you have to do is put the ball on the ground and a run's going to score. And Kiger made the smart play at first base, had no chance at home. You want to make sure you get an out in that play.
Alan Rice scoring from third base, and that wild pitch really comes back to bite Florida.
Yes, it does.
Batter now will be Jeremy Brown. The runner at second base hanging on there is Travis Garner. And that pitch misses, ball 1. Two gone. Runner at second base, Garner. And a 2-run lead for Alabama. Fastball down low, and the count 2 balls, no strikes now on tough hitting Jeremy Brown. All SEC first teamer.
You got first base open, but it's just a matter of picking your poison here with Brown in the box now, and you got McClanahan on deck.
That one's down low. There's Scott McClanahan, who is the cleanup man for Bama. He waits on deck. Outfield. Playing Brown pretty much straight away. Pitch low and inside. That's the 3rd time tonight that Jeremy Brown has drawn a walk, and that is 60 free passes for the season. Talk about patience at the plate.
Well, Kiger's got, 57? And now Brown with 3 base on balls tonight. It's just incredible the patience that both of these young men show at the plate. And that just helps your team. Getting on base, that's the name of the game.
Talked about this a little earlier. Brown has now reached base safely in 106 of 109 games. McClanahan takes a cut at it. Doesn't get it. Strike 1.
That's a phenomenal stat right there.
Getting on base somehow, some way in 106 of 109 games. That goes back a couple of years. Goldfarb. 0-1 pitch. Fastball again. McClanahan did not get a good hack at it. He's in the hole here. No balls and 2 strikes. Scott McClanahan on the night's 0 for 4. Or rather 0 for 3. He popped up to second base, hit into a fielder's choice, and flagged to center. So Jamie Goldfarb ahead in the count here. No balls, 2 strikes. Runners at first and second. Pitch low and inside, and the count 1-2 now. Florida scored a run in the third to tie it at 1 apiece. They got 1 in the fourth and now 1 in the sixth. They're up 3-1, trying for their 12th straight victory over Florida, going back to 1997. Lanahan 1 for 9 in the tournament so far. His one hit was a 3-run dinger yesterday. It's a high pop right behind the bag at second. Kiger's going to take care of this, and the side is out. But South Carolina comes up with one more run on no hits. A lot of walks and hit batsmen thrown in there, and it's 3-1 Alabama on CSF. Here we go to the bottom half of the sixth inning. Alabama building a 3-1 lead over the Florida Gators. 3-5-0 for Bama, 1-4-0 for Florida. Salute your favorite SEC team with official gear from the official online store for the SEC, SECstore.com. A little Bama fan here tonight.
He's having a big time.
Jim Wells having a big time so far. His team up 3-1. But the tough part of the order coming up here for Florida: Pat Osborne, Ryan Shealy, and Ben Harrison.
That man's taken Alabama to 3 College World Series. They finished in second in '97. And if he keeps this up with a 3-1 lead on his team, he'll have a day off tomorrow. Well, the team will have a day off. I'm sure be out here scouting.
Yeah. Congratulations to Jim Wells, too. Earlier this week, he was named 2002 SEC Coach of the Year.
I guess in college coaching, no matter what sport, you never have a day off.
No.
Do you?
Well, you don't want a day off. Osborne will lead it off. Takes a strike from Lance Cormier, the right-hander. Cormier looking for his 10th victory of the season. His 9-3 record tops on the Alabama club. Lance sends one in there. It's top foul up the third base side. So Cormier in command here. No balls, 2 strikes on Pat Osborne. Osborne is 1 for 2 on the night. Infield single to third base back in the first inning.
Gators with a good chance to get back in the ball game here in the 6th inning. They got 3, 4, and 5 coming up. So these are your big sticks.
Ryan Shealy waits on deck, and then Ben Harrison due to face Lance Cormier. Here's the 0-2 pitch way upstairs, and the count 1 ball and 2 strikes on Osborne, a junior from Bakersfield, California. You get a look at Ryan Shealy, 21 home runs on the season. Florida down by 2, so if Osborne can get on here, Shealy will be looking for number 22. There's one hit on the right side, foul territory. Long run out there for Travis Garner, and he can't quite get there. That one went into the patio area. Nice grab out there by a fan. So the count remains 1 ball, 2 strikes on that man, Pat Osborne. Osborne, first team All SEC at third base. He figures to go pretty high in the baseball draft coming up. There's one bounced up there. Nice block by Brown. Boy, catchers take a beating, don't they?
They do. That one bounced up and knocked his helmet and his mask off. He's joking around about it.
But the challenge, don't let anything get by you, right in the chest.
Tools of ignorance behind the plate, as they say. But hey, you got to have a sense of humor.
You know, and he, as I said, he takes that as a challenge. He's not going to, even though there's no chance that, you know, Shealy's going to strike out, he wants to keep it in front of him to prevent him from going to first base. There's a one-hopper to third. Alan Rice is up with it. He throws out the base runner, Pat Osborne. We're out number 1.
Nice play at third base by the freshman Alan Rice. Stays in front of this baseball, and I tell you, they don't call it the hot corner for nothing. Look at this. It's on you in a heartbeat. Takes his time, makes a nice strong throw over to Boyd at first.
So the batter now, Ryan Shealy, will stand in there. hitting number 4 in the order. He's 0 for 2 on the night. Grounded the third on a nice play by Rice to retire him back in the first inning. Also flied to center fielder Scott McClanahan.
Second team All-SEC first baseman. No doubt would have been first team if it wasn't for one Jerome Peters of South Carolina. He was the player of the year.
This pitch is in for a strike. Nice breaking ball from Cormier.
South Carolina comes up in the next ball game tonight. Talked to Ray Tanner last night after the ball game after they beat Arkansas, and he said Peters was questionable for tonight's game. He's got a bad hamstring.
Another one chopped to Rice. He takes care of business against Shealy for 2 outs.
Well, on the previous batter, we saw his mental toughness getting in front of the hard ground ball by Osborne. This time he shows his range. Watch him going to his right, all in one motion. Nice throw to Boyd at first base.
So 2 outs, nobody on for the Florida Gators. And the batter now will be Ben Harrison. There's one that's in for a strike. Cormier had a big weekend against Florida. He got the win, and at that time became the winningest pitcher ever. His 28th victory for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Since that time he struggled. He's only won 1 of 6 starts. So after that victory over the Gators back in early April, he's had trouble putting up W's. He's got 9 on the year and an excellent earned run average at 3.14. And tonight he's done a super job just scattering 4 hits. No balls, 2 strikes against the batter Ben Harrison, hitting number 5 in the order. Fastball right down the chute. Taken. Strike 3. Harrison watches it go by. 3 up, 3 down. For the Florida Gators, we go to the 7th. Your score, Alabama 3, Florida 1. You're watching the SEC tournament on CSS. Sun glinting off the Birmingham skyline as we get set to head to the top of the 7th inning. Alabama bringing up Brent Boyd, Chad White, and Bo Harrod. That's our high first guy. Call that high first in television lingo, and that's doing it the right way. Just kind of sit back and kick your feet up.
Yeah,
good job, Mike.
We caught him off guard a little bit there.
You know when to pace yourself. You got to be able to pace yourself. These guys are here all day.
Well, you can't get on them too bad. The entire crew has done an outstanding job both yesterday and today. And hey, they deserve a 5-minute break every now and then.
Or 10. First pitch to Boyd. Misses. Ball 1.
I'll speak for all of us. I think we all slept well last night.
Brent Boyd pumps one foul down the right field side. Disappears into the seats. Let me correct that. I think I called the first one a ball. That was a strike. It's now 0-2 on Boyd. Boyd from Fort Worth, Texas, a senior, is 1 for 1 on the night. He's drawn a couple of walks. Singled and scored in the 4th. Jamie Goldfarb on for his first full inning of relief. He came on for Alex Hart, who right now is on the hook to lose this game. Hart came in 13-1, has only lost to Florida back in April, and so he said he's on the hook to lose here tonight if the Gators don't rally. 0-2 pitch, fouled away, and the count remains no balls and 2 strikes on Brent Boyd. Hitters 5, 6, and 7 coming up for Bama. Winner of this game gets tomorrow off. The loser will go against Mississippi State at 4 o'clock Eastern. Same deal for the next game as LSU battles the South Carolina Gamecocks. 0-2 pitch. Pop foul backing out of play. The loser of tonight's second game in this session, either LSU or South Carolina, will go tomorrow afternoon against Arkansas. Arkansas a winner earlier today, 8-5 over the Auburn Tigers. Mississippi State advanced by eliminating Georgia 10-3. That was the first game this morning. Here comes the 0-2 pitch, hit high in the air toward left field. Gone back, Silvereye looks up. This baby is gone. Home run, Brent Boyd. Boyd was electric yesterday, and he makes it 4-1 with a long bomb to left. That is his 8th home run of the year.
He absolutely got all of that one right there. Watch the replay right here. Stays back, hands extended, gets the head of the bat out there. That's over both tarps out there in left field.
And it's somebody's car in the parking lot. Brent Boyd gives his team a 4-1 lead. That's a third home run, the third gopher ball given up this season by Goldfarb. The batter now will be Chad White.
Well, we talked about Boyd in the open tonight, and Jim Wells told us, he said, you know, we got to get Boyd back in the groove because he's such a key hitting in the middle of the lineup and behind McClanahan and Brown. And tonight he's been a big factor in the ball game with 2 hits and 2 walks.
That one looped foul out of play down the left field side.
Let me correct myself. Even though 2 hits, let's say 1 single and 1 bomb and 2 walks.
Goldfarb sends a fastball in there. It's fouled at plate. The count goes 1 ball and 2 strikes now on Chad White. White 0 for 2 on the night. Struck out, grounded to second, was hit by a pitch in the 5th inning. Jamie Goldfarb. That's the first run he's given up tonight. 1-2 pitch. Cut on a miss, strike 3. So Chad White goes down swinging. And it will bring up the designated hitter, Bo Herod. Herod, the junior from Jennings, Louisiana. He has a hit in 3 trips. Herod has been hot the last few weeks for Coach Jim Wells and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Goldfarb rocks and fires and sends a pitch in for a strike. Herod is batting .345. He's 10 for 29 in his last 9 games. Here's the 0-1. Fouled back to the screen. And a count, no balls and 2 strikes. Alabama kind of ran off the tracks. They went to LSU and lost 3 games the last regular season weekend in the SEC. So they had to have some doubts as they came into this tournament with a number 2 seed. But they erased those doubts yesterday against Mississippi State. They beat the Bulldogs 12-2. And they've looked good here tonight against the Florida Gators so far. 0-2, a weak swing by Herod, and he goes down with a cut. 2 away now, and the batter will be Adam Pavkovich.
Well, if you're Alabama, you're getting hot at just the right time. You want to be peaking at this time of the season as you're getting into postseason play. SEC tournament, NCAA, hopefully a super regional, then on to the College World Series. Goldfarb has done a nice job after the home run he gave up to Boyd. He's come back and he's K'd both White and Herod.
You know, the Florida Gators have been red hot as well. In the month of May, they are 9-2 coming into tonight's game. And they really haven't played that badly here. They've just gotten some bad breaks, couple of walks, couple of hit batsmen, and then that long home run by Brent Boyd. Pavkovich takes a strike. They get down 3 runs. You just got to come back out there and go to work on offense. They've certainly got the offense to do it with a .354 team batting average.
They do. And, you know, you're running out of time, but there's no sense in panicking or anything like that. They can put up a 5 or a 6 spot just as easy as anybody else.
1-1 the count on the shortstop for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Goldfarb into the line. Swing and a miss. Oh, another weak cut by Bama. So Goldfarb out in front in the count here. 1-2. 4-6-0 for Alabama. 1-4-0 for Florida. And you were going to say?
Excuse me, Chuck. He's apparently found something since a home run.
There's hit one deep to left field. That one is up against the wall on 1 hop. Pavkovich will roll into second with a 2-out double. And Alabama just keeps it rolling. That's their 7th hit of the night. And for Adam Pavkovich, his 2nd double of the night.
Well, I guess I spoke too soon there. Jinxed him. Watch Pavkovich right here. Gets the arms extended. And really, Soberai playing a shallow left field on Pavkovich. Didn't think he could hit it over his head, but he drilled it into the gap in left center. He's really shown some pop in this series.
He has indeed. His 13th double of the season. And Alan Rice, the number 9 hitter in the order, will stand in there and take a fastball high. Rice had a big run scoring double back in the 4th inning. Got on a fielder's choice in the 6th and came around to score. So he's 1 for 3.
Played some good third base as well.
There's a pitch that misses inside, and the count 2 balls and no strikes now on the Bama third baseman. Florida, we talked about, they're still in touch here, but they have to keep this run from scoring at second base. That'll make it very, very tough as they get down by 4 runs. That pitch misses, and the count goes to 3-0 on Rice.
You need a battle here. You got the top of the order waiting on deck.
Goldfarb, stretch, 3-0, right down the chute, taking strike 1. Your on deck hitter, Travis Garner. He's the leadoff man. Goldfarb the stretch once again. Pitch cut on a miss, strike 2. So Alan Rice takes a hack, comes up empty, and count runs full on him at 3 balls and 2 strikes. A picture of concentration. Jamie Goldfarb staring in, gets his sign from Rose, and he wants to hold Pavkovich close back at second base with 2 outs. Any kind of base hit here with 2 gone. Pavkovich going to score. Here's the stretch, and a payoff pitch is looped towards short, off the glove of Kiger. Pavkovich is going to have to stop at third base, but South Carolina, rather the Alabama Crimson Tide, will have runners at the corners here with 2 outs.
Tough play for Kiger. He tries to charge it and get it on the short hop right there, and it just hops up off the heel of his glove.
I think they got to give him a hit. Nope, they're going to give him an error on that play. The in-between hop. You talk about a tough play. E6 is the ruling, with runners at the corners for Bama. Top of the order man, Travis Garner, comes up.
Fortunately for Florida, the ball didn't kick far enough away from Kiger, so Pavkovich couldn't round third and score from second on the play.
That's our first error of the game. This has been a well-played game defensively, and still is. That was a tough error. Quick throw to first base chases the runner back. Garner on the night is 0 for 3. Got on base back in the 6th inning when he was hit by a pitch. You see the runner at third, Pavkovich. Rice over at first, and the pitch coming to Garner misses down low, ball 1.
Garner working on a 7-game hitting streak. 0 for 4 tonight.
Comes in hitting .344. There's one. One hop to Osborne. He guns a throw over to first baseman Shealy, and the side is out. Alabama on the long home run by Brett Boyd scores 1 on a couple of hits. There was 1 error and 2 left. We played 6.5 now. Still Alabama 4. The Florida Gators 1. This is the SEC tournament on CSS, your source for sports. Here we go, bottom half of the 7th inning coming up. Should tournament games be played on Saturday evenings, those if necessary games, we will have them for you on CSS. The potential game times are 6 p.m. Eastern time and 9:30. Florida Gators down by 3. They've been out hit 7-4 by the Alabama Crimson Tide, and they got to get it going. They're running out of innings here. We go to the bottom half of the 7th, and the 6, 7, and 8 hitters coming up to face Lance Cormier. Grounded at first baseman Boyd, and he throws it on to Cormier. Textbook on the coverage at first base by Lance Cormier.
You're absolutely correct, Chuck. What Boyd's got to do is you give it to Cormier as soon as you can. That way he can catch it, then worry about stepping on first base.
You see the numbers on Lance Cormier: 6 1/3, 4 hits, 1 run. It was earned, 3 strikeouts, 2 walks. Since April 5th, Cormier has gone 7 innings in 5 of his last 7 starts. Little pop up to the shortstop, Adam Pavkovich. We're out number 2. This is looking too easy for Lance Cormier right now.
You know, he's really settled down here the last couple of innings. That's what, 2, 5, 8 in a row now.
The last man to reach was Brian Rose, who ripped a double to right center field his first time, and
that was the lead off the 5th, and since then it's been quiet for the Gators.
Rose over to talk to Pat McMahon. Brian Rose out of Killian High School in Miami. He's a junior. Has started every game at catcher, which is a little bit unusual in this day and age with the talent spread around college baseball, that you would have one guy start every game.
That's right.
It just shows how tough he is, because you take a beating behind the plate.
Yep.
Cormier sends a pitch inside, ball 1.
Oh, you've talked about Jeremy Brown tonight quite a bit, but this guy making his 118th consecutive start behind the dish for the Florida Gators.
Here's a 1-0. It's inside, ball 2. And what do you want to bet? Pat McMahon told Rose to go up there and take a couple of pitches, please.
You know, I was going to say this, and he had a little meeting with Rose right before, just to probably to give his pitcher a little bit more time, because Cormier's got 2 quick outs, but I think he did tell him to at least take the first pitch.
First ball hitting Matt Goss and Aaron Soberai were retired, and a count now 2 balls and 1 strike on Brian Rose. He grounds one to third, knocked down by Rice. He's up, he's going in time to get Brian Rose. Great play by third baseman Alan Rice as the Gators go in order in the 7th. Your score after 7 innings of play: Alabama 4, Florida 1 on CSS.
Alan Rice with a double tonight, and he's also scored a run. The freshman has played great on defense as well. Look at that diving snap going to his right, up on his feet, turning and throwing. That is an outstanding defensive play from a first-year player.
Alan Rice takes a seat in the dugout, and we'll see Peter Stonard, Jeremy Brown, and Scott McClanahan, the 2, 3, and 4 hitters coming up here for the Alabama Crimson Tide to face Jamie Goldfarb. Goldfarb in his 2nd full inning of relief. There's one chopped foul up the first base side. Goldfarb, the lowest ERA on the Florida staff. Rice has had a busy day at third base. 5 putouts or assists for him today at third. No balls and 1 strike on Stonard. He hits another one foul, this time into the seats up the third base side, and it's no balls and 2 strikes. Stonard has a hit in 4 trips. He singled up the middle back in the 3rd inning. He had a grounded to shortstop that scored a run back in the 6th. Started to chase that ball out of the zone, couldn't hold up, and he's a strikeout victim. So Goldfarb gets a leadoff man here in the top of the 8th. Boy, Alabama, boy, this was a good pitch.
Excellent curveball from the left-hander right there. No chance. He's already committed with the front shoulder. Not a prayer to hit that ball. You got to keep that front shoulder in, and if you're trying to hit a left-handed curveball, unless he hangs it inside, you've got to take it up the middle and to the opposite way, which would be the left side. Keep the front shoulder in, just drive it to the opposite field.
Jeremy Brown stands in, the number 3 hitter in the order. As you saw a second ago, has walked 3 times tonight. That's 60 for him on the season. Takes a hack at that first pitch. Goldfarb ready. 0-1 pitch is fouled off his foot, and a count, no balls and 2 strikes on Brown now.
Jeremy Brown's played a little first base his sophomore year. He's been catcher for the last couple of years. 608 chances, 2 errors in his career at Alabama.
And he's the same guy that's been on base at least 1 time in the last 106 of 109 games. 0-2, misses low and away, and the count 1 ball and 2 strikes now on Jeremy Brown. Starting to get late, folks. If you're a Florida Gators fan, we are in the top of the 8th inning. Gators trailing Alabama here 4-1. Lance Cormier has been sailing along. Goldfarb sends this one down low, and the count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes on Brown. 1 out, nobody on. Scott McClanahan waits on deck. Here's Goldfarb's 2-2. Just misses inside. And the count 3 balls and 2 strikes now. Brown flirting with another walk here as you get a look at Scott McClanahan, the center fielder for the Crimson Tide. Goldfarb into the wide. Here's walk number 4. Automatic. Jeremy Brown heads for first base. See, he was in a hole. No balls and 2 strikes. Rusty, and he worked his way back, drew the walk, and Alabama with yet another base run.
4 walks tonight, 61 on the year.
Here's McClanahan. He's had a tough night of it. 0 for 4. He's had 1 hit in the tournament thus far. That was the 3-run ding-dong yesterday. Goldfarb sends one low and inside. Nice stop by the catcher, Brian Rose.
You know, Brown on first, McClanahan at the in the box right now, and Boyd on deck. Those 3 guys have played a lot of baseball for Jim Wells the last several years, and they have really turned this ball club around after not making the SEC tournament last year. They're one of the favorites this year.
Quick flip to first base, chases a runner back. Count 1-0 on McClanahan as you see Jeremy Brown getting his lead, being held closely there by Ryan Sheely. 1-0. Bounced up there, blocked by Rose. Holds a runner at first base. And we're going to get time now as Ross Jones will make his way to the mound. Let's see if we get a switch pitch here. Pat McMahon usually makes the changes. Third base dugout has been lucky today. All the winning teams thus far have come out of the third base dugout. And right now Alabama's in that dugout. Pat McMahon going down toward the bullpen now.
I think he wants to check and see if he's ready or something like that. That's Connor Falkenbach warming up in the bullpen right now.
He continues to take his warm-up tosses. Ross Jones buying some time in his meeting at home plate. And finally, Paul Gilly comes out and breaks that up.
We've got a meeting on the mound, and we have a meeting in the bullpen. We got something going on down here. Looks like he's upset about something.
Right-hander Connor Falkenbach, 5'10", 173, a freshman from Parkland, Florida.
Well, he's appeared in 9 games this year, and he's warming up in the pen.
Apparently he wasn't doing it quickly enough for Pat McMahon. Here's a 2-0 pitch. And a foul tip into the mitt of Brian Rose. So 2 balls and 1 strike now on Scott McClanahan. LSU and the South Carolina Gamecocks to follow this one. Runner at first gets his lead. And here's the 2-1 pitch. It's down low, ball 3. So Goldfarb. A chance here to walk back to back. Trailing 3-1 on Scott McClanahan. Infield at double play depth. Goldfarb will throw one over to first base, keep the runner close. Well, McClanahan gets down the line in good shape. He's going to be tough to double up. He's got good speed. McClanahan, the senior from Hartselle, Alabama, takes ball 4. So back-to-back walks for Jamie Goldfarb. And we'll see if Florida makes a switch here. McClanahan has now reached base in 17 straight games with that walk. McMahon thinking things over.
You got trouble coming up right now, too. Boyd 2 for 2. He's got a pair of walks, a base hit. He scored a couple of runs, and last time up, hit a long home run to left field.
That baby's still rolling. Here comes McMahon out of the bullpen. And it looks like we're going to get a relief pitcher. Falkenbach will be coming in here, I think, to get him a righty versus righty situation, and that's exactly the case. So Jamie Goldfarb puts a couple on Dio. The walk route. I think that is 7 walks now for Alabama pitching tonight. And Connor Falkenbach, a right-hander, a freshman from Parkland, Florida, makes his way to the mound.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jamie Goldfarb.
Connor Falkenbach on the season, no record. This is his 10th appearance. He's got 1 save. Later on tonight, as we said, LSU and South Carolina right after this game. That's right here on CSS, your source for sports in the Southeast. And that's LSU looking on as they get set to go.
And a little bit of smattering of yellow coming into the ballpark now, those being LSU fans, obviously.
Started to say Falkenbach is from 13 innings, has given up 12 hits, 1 run. It was not earned. Struck out 11 and walked 3. So as a freshman, he hasn't had many opportunities, but the opportunities he's gotten, he's made the most of.
Well, he hadn't given up a run, an earned run at least. And so when called upon, he's done the job.
3rd pitcher of the night, Connor Falkenbach. And he will be facing a tough customer in Brent Boyd with 2 runners on. Pat McMahon gives him some encouragement and departs for the dugout.
Well, he is a cheerleader out there. He stands behind the mound when the relievers warm up, and he's talking to everybody. He's really into the ball game. You know, I think he's livened up this Florida club too. They're hitting the ball better. They're pitching better as a team pretty much all year long, and he's brought a spark to this Florida team this year, I believe.
Yeah, I think a number of Florida Gators have had breakout seasons with Pat McMahon coming on board. Just instilled a little more confidence, a little change of scenery, and that's helped them out. So Boyd stands in on the right side to face Connor Falkenbach. Trying to hold them where they're at. Alabama with a 3-run lead here, 4-1, and a fastball outside, ball 1. Falkenbach with a little giddy up on his fastball. You see the numbers on Brent Boyd. Boyd named earlier this week All-SEC first team second baseman, although he now plays at first base. That pitch misses, and the count now 2 balls and no strikes. Runners get their lead at first and second base. Brown at second, McClanahan at first. Here's a 2-0 hit high in the air, but foul right behind home plate. And that was a nice catch by a fan. So 2 balls, 1 strike now on Brent Boyd. There's 1 out. You get a good look at the freshman, Connor Falkenbach. Here's a 2-1, fouled back against the screen. 2 balls, 2 strikes now on Brent Boyd. The on-deck hitter is Chad White.
Youngsters coming right at the veteran right there with some heat.
Brent Boyd, 10 multiple hit games now. He has 2 hits tonight. That's his 10th of the season. Has not hit for average, though, for Coach Jim Wells. Here's a 2-2 pitch, and it's hit foul down the left field side. That was a rope.
That ball was hammered. You know, I think Pat McMahon probably came in and said, look, I know you're a youngster, but we've walked 8 guys as a team tonight. Let's get the ball over the plate. Let's let your defense work behind you, and let's challenge the hitters. He challenged him on this 2-2 pitch right down the gut, and look at Boyd. He just rifles it just foul down the left field line.
Did a good job keeping his head down on the ball, and that baby was a bullet.
He's got great mechanics.
Had a homer and 2 RBI in the series against Florida. And there's a check swing. Appeal to first base. Tony Walsh says He held up on the swing, so the count goes full now. 3 balls and 2 strikes with 1 out here. It will be interesting to see if Brown and McClanahan are going.
What do you think? I think he held up.
Yep.
Another good call by Blue.
Bat has to cross the front side of the plate for it to be called a strike. There go the runners. 3-2 pitch, low and inside, ball 4. So Florida pitchers have walked them full here on the top of the 8th inning. And a big mess for the youngster Connor Falkenbach.
Number 36, left fielder
As Chad White will come to the plate. That's a 9th walk of the night for Gators pitching. Something Pat McMahon didn't figure on with Alex Hart starting this evening.
You got to make them earn it. You can't give them free passes all night long. It'll come back to haunt you.
Greg White trying to plate 4 as he unbuttoned his shirt with that swing. No balls and 1 strike on White. He's a left fielder from Prattville, Alabama. No home runs, 11 RBI, and a .298 batting average. I think he was trying to hit his first on that fastball from Falkenbach. Here's the 0-1. Just misses outside. Count even. 1 ball and 1 strike.
He's coming at you with the gas right there.
Runners lead away at all stations. 4-1 your score. Alabama on top of Florida. Bama trying to score more.
Gators in on the corners, back in the middle.
Falkenbach pops one up, foul territory. That's going to reach the seats. And the count on White will be 1 ball and 2 strikes now. That guy didn't even move. It fell in his lap.
She's probably saying, why didn't you get up there and help me? Instead of just sitting there with your arms crossed.
He didn't have to move. 1-2 is the count. Again, runners lead away. Young Falkenbach to the stretch, and the pitch is bounced up there. Ryan Rose has gotten a workout tonight for the Florida Gators, the catcher. Take a look at Jeremy Brown at third base. Scott McClanahan on at second. And Brent Boyd is the runner at first base. Here comes a 2-2 pitch. It's down low, ball 3. So now Falkenbach really in the soup. He's got to come with a payoff pitch and a sacks pull. Chad White. And here's the 3-2. It's popped up, foul territory. That goes back on the roof of the stadium, and the count holds at 3 balls and 2 strikes. 4 runs, 7 hits, no errors for Alabama. 1 run, 4 hits, 1 error for the Florida Gators.
Falkenbach has thrown a lot of fastballs in this sequence, just 1 curve, and he threw a fastball the last time at 3-2.
There's a payoff pitch hit toward the gap in right center field on his horse. Reardon can't get there. 1 run will score. Here comes McClanahan. He will score. At third base, Boyd will be held up. It's a 2-run single, a rather double for Chad White, and Alabama builds its lead to 6-1. 3-2 pitch. Chad White went the opposite way to left center field and hit it over the head of Jake Reardon on the dead run. Reardon could not catch up, and Alabama may have just gotten a free pass through tomorrow.
Well, you can't walk the bases loaded without coming up with some pressure and getting hurt right there, and Chad White knew the fastball was coming right down the middle. He just drove the ball right over Reardon's head in left center field. McClanahan and Brown both score easily. Boyd being held at third base, and White in with a stand-up double, a clutch hit, and now it's 6-1 Crimson Tide.
That's 13 RBI on the season now for Chad White, and Bo Herod will stand in there. Herod has a hit in 4 trips. That one down low. Rose, another nice stop. We're in the top half of the 8th, and Bama has broken open a 5-run lead here. 6-1 your score. Jim Wells liking what he sees so far. Infield is in. With just 1 out. There's 1 fouled away. And the count even up. 1 ball and 1 strike on Bo Herod. That McMahon, not a happy customer right now.
Well, one thing he didn't expect were 9 walks by his Gator pitching staff.
There's a breaking ball that Herod chases. And now I understand that we have a pinch hitter. Zach Welsh is in the lineup for Alabama. This is not Herod.
He's a freshman hitting .277 on the year.
And he just upped that average a little bit as he singles to right. Another run scores at 7-1. And Alabama will have runners at the corners and still only 1 out.
Well, that time you had freshman against freshman.
Zach Welch.
Welch hammered it right in the hole between first and second.
Number 4, shortstop Adam Pavkovich.
That is his 11th RBI of the season. And Alabama shooting for their 12th straight victory over the Florida Gators.
3 walks to start the inning has really opened it up. We still only have 1 out. Bama has already plated 3. And they've got runners on the corners and threatening for more.
Batter now will be Adam Pavkovich, the shortstop. He has 2 doubles on the night in 3 trips.
Ben Hedgecock warming up in the Gator bullpen in a hurry.
Here's a pitch down low and count 1 ball and no strikes on Pavkovich.
There he is right there.
He's just getting loose. Florida needs to call a doctor here. They're down 7-1 to the Alabama Crimson Tide. Here's 1-0 pitch. Picks up the inside corner at the knees for a strike. Number 8 hitter in the order, Adam Pavkovich. You see his work on the night.
You know, at some point it becomes a mind game if you're a Gator. Losing 15 of the last 16 meetings, including 11 in a row to Alabama, down 7-1. You know, it starts to kind of eat away at you and things like that.
You know, in just about every conference too, you have that one series that's so lopsided in one way and there's no explanation for it.
That's right.
And that's what this one is so far. 1-2 the count on Pavkovich, and he grounds it down to the second baseman. The relay on to first is in time to double play. 4-6 to 3. Gets Florida out of the inning, but 3 more runs for the Alabama Crimson Tide on 1 hit. 1 left on. 7-1 now. Bama over Florida on CSS. We're back at Hoover Metropolitan Stadium in Hoover, Alabama. SEC tournament for 2002. I'm Chuck Hushen along with Rusty Enzer. And going back to the 3rd inning, Cormier, 26 pitches in that inning. He really struggled, although he did not give up any runs to the Florida Gators. Since that time, he's thrown 9 pitches in the 4th, 8 pitches in the 5th, 12 pitches in the 6th inning, and 6 pitches in the 7th, 35 total. And after the 3rd inning, he's really been sailing along. Florida has been helping him out. A lot of first ball hitting. Nice job.
35 pitches in 4 innings. That means you're back on your game.
Cormier rocks and fires, sends one on the inside corner to the leadoff man for the Florida Gators here in the bottom half of the 8th inning.
And that's a sign of a good veteran pitcher right there. Cormier started out, gave up a run to Florida in the bottom of the 1st, didn't have his best stuff, regrouped, and now he's in a groove.
This is Matt Foster, a pinch hitter for Jake Reardon, and Foster goes down swinging. So
watch this. Great pitch right here.
That was up in his eyes as he chased the high fastball. You get down 6 runs, you better be a little patient at the plate. Batter now will be Mark Kiger. Kiger takes one inside from Cormier, ball 1.
He was a spark early on for the Gators, singling and scoring in the 1st, walked in the 3rd. But down 7-1, you just got to do whatever you can now to get something going.
That pitch is in for a strike. Tiger.
He's feeling it now.
1 ball, 1 strike. All SEC second teamer at shortstop is 1 for 2 on the night. This one chopped toward third but foul. Lance Cormier has done the job, trying to win his 10th victory of the season and beat Florida for the 2nd time this year. If this score holds up, Alex Hart will drop to 13-2 in both of those losses coming to Alabama.
You know, Cormier, we talked about him being in a groove right now. Whether you're a pitcher or a hitter, when you're going right and you can feel it, it's like nothing else. If you're a hitter, the ball looks like a softball coming in there. And I'm sure the strike zone to Cormier right now has expanded, at least in his eyes.
That one fouled by about 5 feet down the first base side. 7 runs, 9 hits, no errors for Bama. 1-4-1 for the Florida Gators. A couple of great starting performances in the first 2 days of this tournament. Pankersley, the freshman yesterday, went 7 1/3. Cormier has gone 8 1/3 here. There's a chopper to third base. Alan Rice shows off his arm again, throws out Tiger, and there's 2 away.
That's 11 in a row by the big Alabama pitcher right there. He hadn't given up a hit since Brian Rose had a double back in the 5th to lead off that inning. Since then, he has been in total command.
Second baseman Aaron Davidson will stand in there now. He's hitting number 2 in the order, 0 for 2 on the night. Lance Cormier into the line. Fastball cut on a miss. Strike 1. Now see, Davidson saw the pitch was high, tried to hold up, but swung through. That one picks up the outside corner. Nice slider as it broke away from the right-handed hitter and picked up the corner. It's 0-2 now. Lance Cormier looking good on every pitch. Gets encouragement from catcher Jeremy Brown. This pitch is upstairs. Runs it to 1-2. 2 outs, nobody on for Florida. We're in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Again, if the Gators lose this game, they'll go against the Mississippi State Bulldogs tomorrow afternoon. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Just misses low and away, and the count evens up now. 2 balls, 2 strikes. ...101 pitches on the evening for Lance Cormier. 65 of them strikes. There's a pitch, ripped to right. That's going to get in for a base hit. 5 hits on the night now for Florida. A 2-out single by Aaron Davidson, and Pat Osborne will be the batter. Nice piece of hitting by Davidson, who went the opposite way and squirted it through the hole between first and second.
Doing exactly what Cormier is going to give you, and that's a ball on the outside part of the plate. And you're right, Chuck, he did an excellent job keeping the front shoulder in, just driving it the opposite way. Got to give him credit for that one.
So the batter now will be Pat Osborne. As you can see, 1 single and 3 trips. 5 hits, only 2 of them for extra bases. A double by Ben Harrison and a double by Brian Rose. That's a single to right off the bat of Pat Osborne. He's got his 2nd hit in the books on tonight. So Florida with 2 outs has runners at first and second. Now they need the long ball from Ryan Sheely.
You never know. You got to be careful. See Jim Wells looking over the batting order right there to see who's coming up. Leading hitting team in the conference. You can't shut your eyes, even with a 7-1 lead.
This guy tied with Jerome Peters of South Carolina for the home run crown in 2002. Each hit 21. So Sheely could make it a 2-run game very quickly. Checks his swing. Takes a pitch down low on the appeal play. Tony Walsh rules safe. So 1 ball, no strikes on the first baseman for the Florida Gators. Brown out to talk things over with Lance Cormier. Cormier from Lafayette, Louisiana. State University in that city. Used to be the Southwestern Louisiana Raging Cajuns. Remember that?
Yes, I do.
They still may be the Raging Cajuns, but Louisiana Lafayette now. It's hard to believe that Skip Bertman would allow this guy to get out of the state. Cormier is a tough customer. Here's the 1-1 pitch. And this one hit the right field. Another base hit. Here comes Davidson at third base. He's going to score. The throw is late, and it's 7-2. Runners at first and second. The RBI for Ryan Sheely. And for him, that's 71 on the year.
And Sheely does a nice job hitting the ball to the opposite way. I don't know if we can pick this up on the replay. Nice job in right field by Garner, but Jeremy Brown is going to try to deke Davidson coming in. You just barely missed it there, but he was just standing straight up as if there was not going to be a play. Davidson wasn't buying it, and he slid in safely.
So we're going to get a switch pitch, I believe, as Jim Wells makes his way to the mound. Head coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide.
I believe that's Brian Reed in the pen.
Reed with the lowest ERA on the Alabama club at 1.77. He's 4-0 on the year. And he's taking a few warm-up tosses. Wells maybe trying to give him a couple of extra minutes.
I'd say Lance is out there giving Coach Wells an earful. I'm fine, Coach. I need to get out of this inning. Don't pull me. He's doing a big-time sales job on him right now.
Now Paul Gilly breaks up the conference, and apparently Lance Cormier will stay in the game. So pretty good salesman.
Well, he's earned the right to be up front with his manager right there. Career leader in strikeouts at Alabama. He's making his 41st start of his career tonight, 16th this year. Second team All-SEC.
So it's 7-2 now. The lead 5 runs for Alabama. And the batter now will be Ben Harrison. Harrison had a 3-run homer yesterday against the Georgia Bulldogs. Had a home run cut on that one, fouls it away in the count. No balls and 1 strike on Harrison.
Another 3-run job right here, and we have a new ball game.
1 for 3 on the night. That was a double back in the 4th inning. Cormier has gone the distance 6 times in 15 starts. Gets his sign, and here's the 0-1 pitch. This one's down low. Count even up now. 1 ball and 1 strike. Runners lead away at first and second. Pat Osborne on at second base. Ryan Sheely on at first. And the 1-1 to Harrison just outside. The count goes to 2 balls and 1 strike. Fans grumble over that call.
That was a good call.
And all this has happened with 2 outs. 3 singles by Davidson, Osborne, and Sheely. As a run on the board for the Gators. And there's one hit high in the air toward left field. Back goes Chad White. White cannot get there. The ball up against the wall. McClanahan will one-handed get it back to the infield. And 2 more runs score. To correct that, 1 run scores. As Osborne comes in from second base. Stopping at second will be Ryan Sheely, and Ben Harrison with the RBI. I believe 2 runs scored on that play. 2 runs
scored on that play right
and
there.
Sheely, Harrison out at second base.
Sheely got kind of messed up coming around third base. He got confused with his third base coach, and he actually hesitated. He wasn't really waving him in. He was just kind of pointing him in, and he got confused, thought that might be the stop sign, and he actually stopped after he rounded third and then proceeded to go in to score.
So Brian Reed, the right-hander, will come on for Lance Cormier, and he gets a standing O as he goes off. Greeted by all the members of the dugout. It's 7-4 now. Harrison out at second base, and the potential tying run on deck now for the Florida Gators.
Well, Cormier did a nice job. He retired 11 in a row up until Aaron Davidson got a 2-out base hit this inning. And the next 3 batters have reached base. 7 2/3, 8 hits, 4 runs, all earned, 4 strikeouts, only 2 walks, 110 total pitches. That young man has deserved a little rest right there.
The oncoming pitcher is Brian Reed, 6'1", 205, a junior transferred in from Meridian Community College from Amory, Mississippi. Reed with the lowest ERA on the staff at 1.77. He's 4-0. This is his 26th appearance. In 45 2/3 innings, he's given up 40 hits, 9 earned runs, has struck out 39, and walked just 9. So excellent numbers for Brian Reed. He's also saved 8, and he'll try to save this one.
You know, about 5 minutes ago, you didn't think it was going to be a save opportunity for Alabama. Up 7-1 and cruising with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th inning. And all of a sudden, you got the potential tying run on deck.
7-4 your score, and the batter now will be Matt Goss. Goss gets hit by a pitch. Reed let one get away from him, and now we have the tying run at the plate. And Aaron Soberai. We'll get to watch it again.
First pitch.
Yellow.
Right where, I guess you got the most padding anyway.
He only throws it about 90, so you know it didn't hurt.
Well, back in my day, we'd have a bag of tobacco or something like that in your back pocket, and that would help ease the pain.
And those days are long gone. Pitch is low and away from Soberai. We get more activity in the bullpen for the Alabama Crimson Tide.
I believe that's Brent Carter down there, number 39.
1 ball, no strikes on Aaron Soberai. He hits number 7 in the order. He's an all-SEC second teamer, and he represents a tying run in a 7-4 game. This pitch is in for a strike, and the count even up now. 1 ball and 1 strike on Soberai. All this grief for Alabama with 2 outs. This one down low, and the count goes to 2-1. With the 2 outs, Aaron Davidson singled to right, then Pat Osborne singled to right. Ryan Shealy thought that was a good idea. He singled to right to score Davidson. And then the 2-run double by Ben Harrison. Matt Goss hit by a pitch, and that's where we are now. 3-1 the count on Aaron Soberai. Reed has a plate jumping around a little bit on him now.
If you're Reed, you got to be careful right here. Soberai can knock it.
3-1 pitch on the outside corner at the knees. Nice pitch from Brian Reed. Pat McMahon looking on. Gators trying to rally here. They got behind 7-1, giving up 3 runs in the top of the 8th. And that pitch down low, the bases are going to be loaded. Florida answered with 3 of their own in the bottom half of the 8th, and now the tying run is at first base.
Wow, that was close. But Reed,
number 55,
since he's come in the ball game, he's hit the first guy, which was Matt Goss, and now he's walked Soberai. So you got the tying run now on base at first base. Go ahead run at the plate.
Brian Rose will be the batter now.
Pinch hitting number 22, Mario Garza.
And we're going to get a pinch hitter for Rose. They're going to lift him and go to the left-handed hitter, Mario Garza. Garza hitting .314. He has 10 home runs and 38 RBI on the season.
He typically shares DH duties with Ben Harrison, usually in the lineup against right-handed pitching.
With the bases loaded this season, Garza is 2 for 10 on the year. And he takes a pitch low and away.
Things are getting a little interesting in Birmingham.
Garza, a junior, he hails from Melbourne, Florida. Transferred in from Stanford University. 1-0 the count. Fastball popped up foul territory, but that will reach the seats. So the count evens now on Mario Garza at 1 ball and 1 strike. Garza, the 9th man to bat in the inning. Take a look at the runners. At third base is Ben Harrison. Matt Goss at second base, and Soberai over at first. Ryan Reed rocks and fires. Here's a 1-1 pitch. Swung out and missed. Strike 2. Garza went fishing, came up empty. He's in the hole now. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Watch it again.
Got to be a little bit more disciplined when you have the bases loaded right there. Off-speed pitch absolutely fooled Garza.
Here's a 1-2. It's chopped toward first and foul. As Brent Boyd comes in and gloves it. So the count holds 1-2. 7-4 the score. The potential tying run on at first base in the person of Aaron Soberai. That's Mario Garza. He's up there battling the pinch hitter for Brian Rose. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Wells calling the pitches from the dugout. Here's Reed. 1-2 pitch, and it's fouled again down the third base side and out of play.
Reed trying to live on that outside portion of the plate with Garza. The previous pitch, Garza's front shoulder flied out, and he tried to pull that outside pitch and dinked it foul down the first base line. That time, he kept the front shoulder in and tried to drive it.
Here comes a 1-2 once again. Bounces up there, blocked nicely by catcher Jeremy Brown, and the count evens. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Again, the runners lead away. That's Harrison. That's Goss. That's Soberai. 2-2 the count. 2 outs, 3 in. Here's Reed. The pitch fouled back. And Mario Garza is hanging tough. Both pens getting very, very busy now. Bunch of folks running down toward the Florida pen. And for South Carolina, Jared Woodward is up. Here's the 2-2 pitch. It's grounded towards short. Into glove it and take it. The runner unassisted is Adam Pavkovich. And his side is out, but Florida cuts into that lead a little bit. They get 3 runs on 4 hits. No errors, 3 left. We played 8. Alabama 7, Florida 4 on CSS.
Got a minute? Introducing Jet Wet. Why waste your time and effort with messy liquids or hand-applied products? Look, with Jet Wet, you just spray it on. It's the world's fastest, wettest high-gloss tire shine. No wiping. It's streak-free, fast-drying, water-resistant. And the jet black wet look lasts for weeks. Amazing. Less than 60 seconds for all 4 tires, and you're done. Jet Wet, because wetter is better.
Now catching for Florida, number 33, Jamie Keel.
Looks like 9. Is it a possibility?
Jeff Corselletti,
Get some defensive
number 7,
changes
now playing
for the
right
Florida
field.
Gators. Joe Mercadante is the new catcher.
Matt Goss, Florida, moves from right
We
field
get a look
to
at
center field.
Mercadante as Florida gets 3 runs in the bottom half of the 8th inning. And it's 7-4 now.
Fans, we want to remind you, if you leave the stadium between
Coming up,
games,
South
please
Carolina
raise your hand stand to take your
and LSU. You see Ray Tanner looking on, the head coach of the South Carolina Gamecocks.
and remind all fans leaving between games, you will exit down the
We had a
first or
defensive
third
switch in
base
the
side
outfield as well.
intersections, but exit at the
Matt
gate
Goss
down
has
first
moved
and
over to
third base
play
side.
center field.
Appreciate your cooperation.
And Corselletti moves in. He'll play right field. There's Matt Goss, your center fielder.
Number 26, the third baseman,
And Alan Rice, the number 9 hitter in the order, will lead it off for Alabama. (7-4) your score. Florida has almost caught Alabama in the hits department. It's 9-8 there. but the Gators trail it by 3 runs, and they're going to score them in the bottom of the 9th. There's a fly ball toward left. Moving back, the left fielder, Aaron Soberai, and he takes it for out number 1. So Rice is retired. And back to the top of the order we go. Travis Garner will be the hitter now. Facing Connor Falkenbach, the freshman right-hander. He's the 3rd pitcher of the night for Florida. Came on in relief in the top half of the 8th inning. There's one chopped toward 3rd. Osborne gloves and throws him out. So Garner is retired 5-3. With 2 gone, it will be Peter Stoner, the batter now.
Second baseman Peter Stoner.
Garner's been up 6 times, and now Stoner comes up for the 6th time tonight. That doesn't happen often.
Stoner is 1 for 5 on the night. That was a single up the middle back in the 3rd inning. He plated 2 runs on that. He's got 2 RBIs. Fastball from Falkenbach is upstairs, ball 1. 2 outs, nobody on for Alabama as we play in the top half of the 9th inning. Winner of this game gets tomorrow off. Advancing to Saturday, the loser has to take on Mississippi State. The game we were talking about a moment ago, LSU and South Carolina. Loser of that game goes against the Arkansas Razorbacks, and the winner will advance to Saturday. 1 ball and 1 strike. Pitch is inside from Falkenbach, and the count 2-1 now. Jeremy Brown, who has walked 4 times tonight, waits on deck. Pitch is down low. 3-1 the count now. Entire bullpen for Florida standing down on the bullpen mound. Interested viewers, this is ball 4 coming up. They'll go back to work. There's a pitch, fastball, picks up the outside corner, strike 2. So 3 balls, 2 strikes on Peter Stoner. And a payoff pitch coming up. There's one loop toward left. Moving over Soberai, and he grabs it for out number 3. So 3 up, 3 down for Alabama. In the top half of the 9th inning, we go to the bottom of the 9th. Florida needs 3 to tie. They trail 7-4 on CSS. SEC Tournament Central getting set to crank it up. Matt Stewart and company. Big Doug Mosley looking on. We go to the bottom half of the 9th. Florida needs 3 runs to tie this thing up against Alabama. Brian Reed will enter his first full inning of work. Matt Maley will be the pinch hitter here to lead things off. Maley, very few opportunities, hitting .545 with 2 home runs and 4 RBI.
He's only been up 11 times, but he's made those opportunities count, Ed.
He's hitting in the number 9 spot as he bats for Jeff Corselletti, who came into the lineup late as a defensive replacement in right field. That pitch on the outside corner evens it up now at 1 ball, 1 strike.
Alabama bullpen busy, but Reed seems to have it at least under control right now. Got out of a jam in the last inning.
2-1 the count. Brian Reed with the leadoff man on deck, Mark Kiger. There's a swing and a miss. Maley comes up empty on that one, so the count evens up now. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Kiger, the leading hitter in the SEC, comes in with a .414 average. Peter Stoner just behind him now. That one misses. Count goes full at 3-2. Continued activity in the Alabama bullpen. They got 2 up and throwing. 3-2 pitch, cut on and miss, strike 3. So down goes Maley, and that's 1 out for the Florida Gators here in the bottom of the 9th. Watch it again.
Well, what you don't want to do is You don't want to put him on a free pass, and you just want to challenge the youngster, and that's what he did with the fastball right there. Blew it right by him.
Haley, the sophomore from Miami Killian High School, goes down swinging. So back to the top of the order we go. And Mark Kiger. Kiger 0 for 5 yesterday. He is 1 for 3 tonight. And he loops one toward left. The sliding catch out there by Grant Red, who just entered the lineup for defensive purposes. Grant Redding. And he is out. Number 2, Mark Kiger goes down.
Nice sliding catch by Redding. Obviously, Jim Wells putting him in left field for defensive purposes. Knew exactly what he was doing, and he comes up and made a play.
All right, 2 down for Florida. Last hope is Aaron Davidson, the little second baseman. Reed sends one in. It's a strike. Alabama trying to move into Saturday with a win here tonight. And Florida, should they lose, will go against Mississippi State tomorrow afternoon. Alabama trying to win its 46th game of the season for Coach Jim Wells. This one's down low, and the count goes 2-1. We talked about it earlier. Bama really owns Florida. They won 11 straight over the Gators. 2-1 pitch is nubbed towards second. Grabbed off on the fly. Brent Boyd cuts in front of Stoner, and a side is out. 12 straight victories for Alabama over the Florida Gators. More importantly, Gators have to play Ron Polk and the Mississippi State Bulldogs tomorrow, and Alabama moves into Saturday. They get to buy all the way to Saturday and get a leg up on the championship round on Sunday. So the final score, Alabama 7, Florida 4. Back with a postgame show after this, coming up on CSS. Final totals on this game tonight. Alabama 7 runs, 9 hits, no errors, 14 left on base. 4 runs, 8 hits, 1 error, 6 left on base for the Florida Gators. Bama goes to 46-12 on the season. And the Florida Gators dropped to 41-16. Outstanding pitching performance by the starter tonight, Lance Cormier. And we'll go down on the field now. Coach Jim Wells standing by. And Coach Lance came out and pitched a great game against Florida earlier in the year. Got it done again tonight.
Yeah, he really did. He pitched outstanding. Ran out a little gas there at the end, but was sharp for the whole time he was out there after a little shaky first inning. But one of his best performances.
Got a tough weekend last weekend, Coach. Now you've got 2 big victories in the tournament. I guess you've kind of earned yourself a day off for tomorrow. Yeah,
I look forward to that. That was the one of the motivating factors. Get off tomorrow. It's the Omaha format, so I'm glad the kids got it done.
You know, you've only used 3 pitchers in the first 2 games. And I think you talked yesterday about almost setting your staff up for next week with the NCAA regional. But things are kind of working out for you right now, aren't they?
Well, anytime guys can go deep into the game, especially in a tournament like this where you can play 4, 5, or 6 games and hoping to play 4. So you have to use your pitching staff even if you only play 4. But we're lining up our main guys for next week.
We talked about it during the course of the telecast, but this is one of those weird things where one team totally dominates another one. We know how good Florida is, but you guys have beaten them 12 straight times now.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I have no idea. And there's some teams have beaten up on us a lot. So, yeah, it's one of those things. I don't know why, but we'll take another one. Yeah.
Coach, last year, you know, your team didn't qualify for this tournament in the SEC. What's been the big turnaround for your ball club this year?
Well, there's a lot of things, but the 2 main things is, number one, you have those really good seniors back who provide not only good play but great leadership. And when a guy comes back for his senior year, he's here to play for the college team. The draft stuff has kind of gone through, and they're ready to just win for Alabama. And secondly, we got a bullpen, something we haven't had in decades. So those 2 factors are the main things.
Yeah, it seems top to bottom in that batting order, you get a different guy stepping up every night. And, of course, Jeremy Brown, 4 more walks tonight. He always gets it done, but you have different heroes contributing.
Yeah, and we have to be that team. You know, when you got some guys hitting 235 down the lineup, we've never had that, but some of those guys are getting big hits at the right time. And Alan Rice is playing much better. And Zach Welch comes off the bench, gets a big hit. So we're utilizing any and everyone to try and win a game.
Jim, thanks for joining us. Congratulations. Rest up. Have a good night's rest, and we'll see you on Saturday.
Okay, thank you.
Alabama coach Jim Wells, his team victorious tonight over the Florida Gators. Our post-game show continues coming up. 7-4 the final in this one. You're watching CSS, your source for sports. Welcome back to Hoover Met Stadium. I'm Chuck Hushin along with Rusty Enzor as the Alabama Crimson Tide advance. They beat the Florida Gators here in the winners bracket 7-4. Winning pitcher tonight, Lance Cormier, runs his record to 10-3. Went 7 2/3 innings, scattered 8 hits. Lance, you struck out only 4, walked only a couple, but boy, had great location on your pitches. You were able to throw it just about where you wanted all night long.
Yeah, I felt real good out there with the command, everything working both sides of the plate. And after they jumped out on that from the first pitch, outside fastball that Kiger hit, good hitter, you know. After that, we just went almost strictly inside with an occasional outside fastball, and I was able to spot up pretty good with a good little movement, and they just kept beating ground balls into the ground.
Lance, you're a veteran, and I know you gave up a run in the bottom of the first to the Gators, but you reached a point, I think, in about in the 5th inning where you retired 11 batters in a row, starting after the double by Rose. Did you reach a point in the game where you just thought, hey, I just feel good, it's clicking? What went on kind of in your mind and physically with your arm?
I mean, I just went out there and just battled all the time. I mean, compete my heart out, and my command was just there, and I was just spotting up, and defense made some great plays. I mean, Alan Rice, the third base, made, 3 or 4 spectacular plays today. So.
Well, you guys had a tough weekend at LSU, as we talked about earlier, as the Bengal Tigers got the sweep down there. But, you know, any questions about your confidence being shaken were answered yesterday. That big win, 12-2 over Mississippi State. And now Mr. Momentum is all rolling in your favor.
Yeah, like you said, that's one thing. I mean, we've swung the bat well all year, and then we go down there and we don't swing the bat. I mean, that's all you can say. I mean, we just didn't hit well. And so coming in the first game of the tournament and then banging out 17, 18 hits that we did, and 10-run ruling team, I mean, that was a big momentum shift to us. And now we got 9 runs on a great Florida team with Alex on the mound. I mean, that's just something we have been working on. We worked really hard this week on hitting. They hit BP for 2 hours. I mean, so.
Well, they found the magic.
Lance, you're one of the veteran players on this Alabama team. Jeremy Brown, Scott McClanahan, Brent Boyd. You know, you've got a pretty good supporting cast, and I guess when you give up an early run, there's no sense of panic because it's a total team effort, but having good senior leadership in the middle of the lineup has got to be something that makes you feel strong and get a lot of confidence. Yeah,
they do a great job, Jeremy, Scott, and Boyd. I mean, 3, 4, 5, you can't ask for anything more. I mean, have seniors right there. They're definitely our team leaders. I mean, we have 5 seniors, 2 on the mound, and 2 everyday players. So I think it's spread out good. I mean, we know that we can give up an early run. See, we did it yesterday. We gave up the first 2, and I knew it was big. I told Tanks yesterday when he stopped it at 2, he had bases loaded, and it could have been 5. I mean, that was a big run. I mean, 2 is a lot easier to come back from than 5. So, I mean, we knew with 1 that the game wasn't over right there.
Lance, great job tonight. Congratulations. Best of luck on Saturday to the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Thank you.
Alabama winner over Florida. Stay with us. We have the LSU Bengal Tigers and South Carolina Gamecocks coming up.
Bracket with a 7-4 victory that earns Alabama a day off on Friday, advancing them into Saturday's bracket. Florida now has to play Mississippi State in an elimination game tomorrow afternoon. The Bulldogs of Mississippi State eliminated Georgia earlier in the day 10-3, and now the game you're about to see in about 45 minutes, the LSU Bengal Tigers and the South Carolina Gamecocks in the winners bracket. The loser of that ball game plays tomorrow against Arkansas. Arkansas eliminated Auburn earlier in the day. The winner of that contest gets that luxurious Friday off and moves right into Saturday, and that's what South Carolina will be attempting to do. We're now joined by Mike Morgan,